Welcome, listeners, to a rather special extra episode of the Two Ps podcast. Good evening, Ben.
Good evening, mate.
Nice to speak to you, sir. Much quicker than expected.
Yeah.
I have put myself out there to put up with listening to Ben to bring you guys some really interesting content. We hope you enjoy. Essentially, Ben and I, as you will know, believe that the wargaming community is really, really awesome. And right now, amongst all the many things and issues it's causing around the world, the COVID-19 pandemic is shutting lots of events and conventions, which are often an opportunity for independent stockists or small companies, manufacturers of cool wargaming stuff to get their stuff out there. And that's a real shame. Some will literally rely on these events to generate their income. So really important that we as a community make sure we have a look around and see where we can support them. So Ben has done a sterling job of sharing some of those guys through our Twitter account. So hopefully you found that interesting, and I've tried to move some of those across to Instagram and Facebook, although as usual with me, a little bit intermittent, so sorry about that. I'll try and get a few more up. But what we wanted to do was record an episode where we go through and talk about some of the stuff we've seen, what we think is very, very cool, how we think you could use it, and then you guys can go to the show notes or onto the website under the Virtual Wargaming Convention. That's on 2Ps in the pod, and follow it up really and have a look. I think that's pretty much everything, isn't it, dude?
Yeah, I mean, quite cool. If you go to our show notes, we'll have done a list, and you can literally sit down with a cup of tea and do it with us. Open the pages, have a look, see what we're getting excited about. You probably get most bang for your buck out of doing it that way, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. So, guys, without further ado, please do grab some refreshments, and we will see you. Well, it's not the hobby desk. I nearly said it then.
Yeah, you did.
I?
Yeah.
I nearly went on the hobby desk. We will see you on a list of awesome hobby.
Hi guys, and welcome to part one of the Virtual Wargames Convention for Adepticon. So we're going to put the list up of how we're going to go through it, because Adepticon have done this somewhat puzzling thing where every time you open the list of sponsors and exhibitors on their website, it's in a different order. I guess that's to make sure that you actually have a look through, or the same one isn't at the top every time. So first on our list, Dan, is Wonderlight Gaming.
Yeah.
Which is basically an Etsy page, and they do a few pretty cool products, I thought. So the primary thing that they sell is a magnetic MDF case, an MDF case with magnetic sheets, and we're pretty keen on magnetic storage, to be honest.
We are. You could say that.
There's also like a blossoming little sort of gaming aid section, and there's a paint pot tipper over, anti-tipper over thing, so that I don't tip paint all over Dan's floor when I go around. And
I think what I particularly like, sorry to cut you off.
Go for it.
So the movement trays they do these for 32mm and 25mm, I believe. But they are done in such a way that they come, I don't know if they come with the magnets, dude, but you can certainly put magnets into it. I think they might come with magnets, actually. But the nice thing is that they don't have a rim as such. So the model's base is actually, the edge of the model's base is at the outer edge of the movement tray. Which is really, really important, particularly in the likes of Age of Sigmar. So I really like that. Got a lot of time for that, and I thought that was quite a cool little thing.
And the bits in between the bases are sculpted as well. They're modelled.
Yes.
So, and looking at the pictures of the models on them, they look really cool.
They do.
They look really cool. So
the next one on our list is Versatile Terrain.
Yep. The link not working for you, Dave?
No.
So Versatile Terrain do like nameplates for miniatures. I really like these a lot, particularly for skirmish games. They're really high quality. I've actually seen these on the tabletop from this company, and I really liked them. So you can get whatever name written on there you want. I've been thinking of getting them for my Titans, actually. And they come in a number of different designs. I really like the sort of super gothic one, with the kind of rivets and embossing. And yeah, I'm thinking of picking a couple of them up, actually, down for my Titans, like I said.
That's cool. It says here that the fire arc is included. That's pretty cool. Easy fit as well. As you said, different styles. So there's like an orky style. Choose your style. Oh yeah, very cool. Plain, recessed, excuse me, or slim. And font. Let's have a look. Oh! Ho, ho, ho. That's the picture that's going to get me. So, if you check out the website, guys, and look under the font, the header page is Garex Reavers, with them all labelled up. Oh, they do look good there.
Oh, they do, don't they? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They really do.
So you've got standard font, you've got things such as Orcish, runes as well. Oh, mate, those runes look good, don't they?
Yeah.
Crypt.
Celtic.
Digital. I mean, there's more than this, guys. I'm just calling out a few. Mainframe, Adventure, Quest. Oh, dearie me.
Yeah, there's loads there. So you can really sort of personalise your skirmish miniatures with these. So I'm a big fan of these. I'm almost certainly going to pick some up for my Titans.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. So Japan. So if you were going to do Bushido and you wanted that sort of style, Norse.
Yeah.
So like for your Space Wolves, Android would look pretty sweet for Infinity or Mainframe, actually. So yeah, there's some good stuff there. Very good.
I'm afraid we are going to have to press on through, guys. We'd love to spend hours talking about each of them, but we've got loads to go through. So the next one is a Studio Archon or Archon Studio, and they do a number of things, but mainly at the moment their Kickstarter is Starside, which is an upcoming game that they're releasing, and that's probably what they were going to talk about the most at Adepticon. But it's probably the most popular game that people have heard of or come across, I suppose, is the Wolfenstein board game. That's certainly how I know of them. But they also do this rather cool set of Rampart modular terrain, which I think is pretty special.
It's nice. I think the thing that really captured me is Dungeons and Lasers.
Yes.
Which is the modular dungeons or science fiction starship internal bits, but in a plastic sprue form. So really, really cool. So they do Alien Base, Catacombs, or sort of science fiction lab type starship thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, really good.
And the key thing of this, I've come across, no one else that does it in a specific way to do it, is magnetized. So the space is in it for you to put your magnets.
Oh, that's cool.
Standard industry standard magnets. So this stuff is designed to be taken out of the box, put together for a game, and then pulled apart and put back in the box. So I think it's right up there with my short list of top solutions for that kind of thing, particularly the Dungeons and Lasers stuff for things like role playing. think that's brilliant. And like I said, they also do Wolfenstein, Chronicle X, which is science fiction-y with rather cool dudes in rather big suits. That's a board gamey kind of game. And there's some great videos on there on how to do it. I really love the characters for this game, Dan. So there's like a Chief Petty Officer, Jack Clemson, with a whopping great sniper rifle. But my favourite is Mudslide Grizzler. I just think he's ace.
I just spotted a dog with a sword, holding a sword in its teeth as a companion.
Amazing.
That was excellent.
Amazing. Yeah, so there we go. Studio icon, modular terrain, a couple of board games, science fiction one there that we've just spoken about called Chronicle X. Vanguards of War is the sort of fantasy board game that they do. Going over and have a look, because if nothing else, the scenery, I've spent quite a long time looking at it. Should we move on to Table War?
Yeah, so let's go into Table War. So Table War is one where we actually have some personal experience of these guys. So Table War were the first company, certainly that I noticed, that were doing the neoprene gaming mats.
Yep.
So I have 4 of their mats, all 6x4. I've got a space one, a grasslands, a snow, and sort of a, I don't know, wasteland, brownie wasteland colour. They are excellent. Really, really good. I never thought I would be convinced. I didn't think that it would ever be as good as like a properly sculpted battlefield or a battlefield with texture on it. But actually, functionality-wise, storage-wise, even simple things, this can sound ridiculous, but as a parent who would play games in the evening, somewhere you can roll your dice where they're quiet, because the mat is spongy, is actually really useful. So, those mats are excellent. They also do tower cases. They do overlays as well, so you can get like a transparent overlay that can put grids or hexes onto an existing mat that you've got, or a mat from another manufacturer that you've got. And they do mini mat things to do as backdrops if you want to take pictures.
I really like those macro mats, the picture backdrops.
Yeah.
I was having a good old look at them. Very, very nice.
The only sort of thing that I've come across, which is quite frustrating, so when I ordered them, they had a warehouse in Manchester, I think. It doesn't appear like they've got that anymore, and actually if you go to their website, certainly when I went about a week ago, it simply said that they were still working on having being able to purchase through like a UK store or different places around the world, an international web cart store. That's what I meant. That's what I was trying to say. Which is a shame because they got some really nice stuff. But it is worth constantly checking back because I know, as I say, I did read that they were working on that. But yeah. So that's those guys.
War Cradle. So, War Cradle. War Cradle, I first came across War Cradle when I came across a piece of their scenery being done up by Black Arts, and I was extremely impressed by that. And that is, I believe, for Wild West Exodus or Dystopian Wars, one of the two. It's a windmill, so it's their MDF terrain.
It's Wild West Exodus.
Wild West Exodus, yeah, okay. They do a number of games, Wild West Exodus, Dystopian Wars, Mythos, and Fog and Friction. Now, each one of these, really, they've got an excellent range of models, and they've got scenery to go with it, so that they're kind of the full package. If that makes any sense at all, Dan, it's not like they're doing a little bit of it. There's the full package there. I particularly like the models for the Wild West Exodus, because they're kind of Wild West with a science fiction sort of twinge to them, which reminds me of Firefly. I can't get over that kind of link in my head. So I've been very tempted by a few. I've actually got one going through my bits. I thought I did. I do have one, which might be the start of a fledgling little collection for those, which would be pretty cool. Anything catch your eye on there, buddy?
Well, I'm actually finding it difficult to find pictures of the miniatures.
The website is challenging, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not ideal. So one of the things, for example, you got to watch out for, guys, is if you want to click on Mythos, if you click for more info on the bit where it says click for more info, that link doesn't work. You got to click on the logo. Dystopian Wars, I know I like, because this was a game that was made by Spartan Games, who sadly went out of business a year or two ago, and different people bought different parts of their offering, but it was Warcradle that bought Dystopian Wars, and then they folded that in with the Wild West Exodus, so they're both set in the same place. Again, I've just come on here. I've still not seen any models yet. Now, obviously, you guys know I'm not the most amazing at finding stuff, but definitely not the easiest website. But do have a look around, because some good games there, some really good games.
I found it easier to go through their Twitter feed, actually, Dan.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, to get models, because I did really struggle to find them.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure whether I'm doing something completely wrong, to be honest.
Anyway, that's those guys. Again, sorry for whizzing through them, chaps, but hopefully, as I say, we're going to have a list of all the links, so if you want to spend a bit more time, do go and have a look.
One thing I will say, just before we move on from there, is the quality of the MDF scenery, having watched the video where he puts them together in a lot of detail, and that link is on the tweet that we did for them, is very, very good indeed. So,
yes.
Yeah. So we're moving on to now Death Ray Designs, which do a number of different scenery sets.
And widgets.
And widgets and bits. There's the sort of standard sort of ruined city scenery, which is very cool and looks very nice, very functional. But my absolute standout favourite is their set called Odinheim, which is like a sort of neon futuristic. It kind of really rings of Altered Carbon to me, this set. Really like that. They've used plastic, sort of brightly coloured, neon coloured plastics to augment the MDF scenery, and it looks really, really nice. They also have got a Deadbolt's Derelict, which is kind of like the modular sort of necromundery kind of stuff that would fit with that very well.
Yeah, that looks good.
And then Scatter matters. You're absolutely right, dudes. It does matter. Filling up your table with random bits of junk. They've got a lovely little set of Scatter. So well worth having a look at that. What I quite liked about the way this site was set up is that if you go to the bottom, and even in the menu to some degree, it has halfway down specialising in products for, and then it has the different war games, so Infinity, X-Wing, Frostgrave, all of that kind of stuff. So you can click on and it will give you the products that they sell that would fit with that game. I really like that, because some people want that kind of simplicity. Go down, Age of Sigmar, bam, and it will it will tell you.
Yeah, so they also do stencils as well, and they do some of the Guerrilla Miniature games. If you guys follow them on YouTube, follow Ash. you got some branded stuff that you can support him by making purchases through Death Ray Designs of some of his bits and pieces, which is well worth it because to be honest, I really like Ash's stuff. What's also cool at the moment is they've got an Adepticon sale on, so up to 25% off everything across the site. And when you can effectively fill a City Fight board for $80, that is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And again, is it as detailed as the sort of Cities of Death stuff? No, of course it isn't. You pay a premium for that. But does it look flipping cool? And will it block lines of sight? Yes.
Yeah.
There is some really cool stuff in there. Really, really cool. Oh my goodness, that Promethean Refinery Tower trio is bloody brilliant.
What I quite like about these dudes is that they started off as a painting studio, and this is kind of grown out of that. So, they come from the place of being hobbyists or painters. So yeah, there's a nice
stop bundle, brilliant. That site definitely worth going and having a look and just having a really good look around.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my view. And to be honest, if you aren't here for mine or Ben's view, then you probably should listen to someone else.
Right, next up we have Squad Marks. A nice simple product is a clip-on system for bases that help define the squads. Now, there's lots of times where you don't need this. I don't think that you'd need this particularly for a Space Marine Force, for example, because I paint squad markings on my miniatures. So, you'd be able to tell the difference. However, I think there's plenty of opportunity for things like Tyranids, Guard, Necrons, Goblins, etc., etc., etc. There's so many uses for this. And it can actually really... I've seen arguments caused by people not defining what unit things are in, and they're not being clear. They also do cool little simple stuff like the adhesive magnets, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was just looking at that actually.
And base expanders, so loads of sort of basing goodness. But their primary product is these squad marks, these clip-on to the base. The cool thing about them being clip-on is that you don't stick them on; that you're going to be taken off and put on for each game.
Yeah, and I think that's important because they might not give you the visual thing that you want, but that sort of definition, as you said, Ben, it is important in certain circles.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've also got a 15% sale for Adepticon. So, if you're a gamer, absolutely take a look at them.
When I was about 11, I used to play my mate's Chaos Army on a really thin, narrow table, and I had Eldar.
Yeah,
and he always kicked my butt. And I basically decided that I was just going to start taking my casualties off the front of my Guardian units and just put them on the back of the unit, which is clearly cheating, and I don't condone it. But this sort of thing would have caught me out. So definitely be careful if you are trying to cheat. This might not be the way to go.
I'm not sure that was like. This product is not for you if you're a cheat.
Well, that's a quick window into my dark past.
That is true. This product is not for you if you're a cheat.
So let's go next to Crocodile Games.
Yeah.
So, bit of a mix, Crocodile Games. Some really nice stuff and some stuff that it shows its age, but I can't sculpt, so I probably shouldn't say, but again, just opinion. Now, Crocodile Games do a few games, I think they're all on a fantasy sort of setting.
They're sort of classical fantasy, aren't they? So they're fantasy based on classical tropes. So, for example,
that's right.
Greek, Egyptian, that kind of thing. So there's sort of obvious themes to them. We particularly liked the Athenian phalanx for war gods. That was very, very good. Very, very good indeed. They're lovely ranked units where the front rank's kneeling with the spears out, and then the second rank is standing up.
I was just trying to. Oh, here it is. Spartans. It's got to be under Spartans. I'm just going to find it now because I just had a moment when I saw it. There it is. Yeah. So, War Gods of Olympus, Spartan Phalanx.
Well, there's loads actually. So there's the Corinth Hoplites, the Soldiers of Fortune. There's the Corinth Hoplite unit, the Suitors of Aphrodite.
Good place to get Spartan shields for your Space Marines as well, if you're that way inclined, because you can get some shields, and some cool monsters and stuff on there. I like some of these monsters. They're great. What's this? This is brilliant. Titan Master 1. Ooh, he looks angry. So yeah. Also, if you do want to have a sort of semi-naked demonette style woman in a bathtub, this is the place to come, because you can get that with a rubber duck. With a rubber duck, absolutely. So yeah. So, again, it's just really cool. If you've not had much exposure to other bits and pieces, it's well worth having a look around and just seeing what's out there, because there's some fun stuff around. Yeah. I tell you what, they always miss. I wish there was more pikemen in Warhammer.
Yeah, well, I've spoken before about how the units of state troops, or whatever you want to call them now, Cities of Sigmar, with their tiny little swords and tiny little shields, would die in seconds against Aurochs and Chaos Warriors. They would need to be using these ranked spears, these disciplined formations, to stand any chance at all. Pikes, yes please.
Crocodile Games do a very nice anvil as well, so if you are a Salamanders player looking for an objective, excellent. So it's quite a specific one there to recommend. But,
it's pretty specific, dude.
It is. Right. Lastly, on Thursdays, and before we take a quick break, partly to get refreshments and partly because if we've completely ballsed up this recording, it doesn't ruin everything. Yeah. It is Firelock Games. So, well, what more do we need to say than pirates, really?
Yeah, so 17th century, 18th century, something like that, around that time. The Age of Pirates is a skirmish game called Blood and Plunder. And if you've listened to us at all, you will know that every time we come across this webpage, every time that these guys post something, Dan and I sit there drooling like kids in a sweet shop, desperately trying to find excuses as to why we don't need an entire fleet of 28mm scale frigates with accompanying crews. Because they do that. They do everything from the Indian fighters from the North America to redcoats to pirates, and they do lots of ships now. I mean, when it first came out, it was a few ships. Now there's a number. So there's a 6th-rate frigate, which I just absolutely love. Darren, I can't look at this page for too long. There's a galleon. Oh!
To be honest, for me, it's more about I really like the look of Oak and Iron, which is their
smaller scale game. Yeah,
their naval game. Warfare. Now it's set. So my area of interest is more around Trafalgar, and it's set a little bit before that at the moment. Whether there's going to be expansion for that, I don't know, but it does look very, very cool.
Yeah. There's a Corvette. There's ships I don't even know how they sail. Looking at the way their sails are arranged, a Tartana, There's a brigantine. There's frigates, sloops. There's all sorts of ships, and there's all sorts of skirmish models. And like Dan said, there is a game just for naval warfare. So if you're into that period, and have a look, because it's lovely stuff. And I've watched the demo videos, and it plays well too. Really like the way it looks. So there we go. Should we take a short break, Dan, to go and grab some refreshments?
Oh, yeah. Because I'm reading things such as Oak and Iron, Blackbeard's Revenge, Oak and Iron, Gentlemen of Fortune, Oak and Iron, Men of War. Even the names of these expansions make me want to buy them. Let's do something else a minute. Guys, we will catch you when we do in the next roundup, which is Fridays from a while ago. Professional.
Hello, and welcome to part 2. And we are going to get stuck straight in, because we've just seen that the first part took us half an hour, which is really, we're going to be here all night.
I'm going to have a bit of a moment in a minute. I'm going to do an old man thing. I'm sorry, but it really annoys me when you go to a website and the first thing that happens is it pops up and says, join our mailing list. No, give me a chance to decide whether I want to be part of your mailing list first, please. Completely irrelevant, but just sticking it out there.
Right, first one up is Matt by Mars. Some really cool stuff on here.
Yes.
What I really like about this is that it down the side, like we mentioned before, it has the games. So Infinity Mats, Malifaux Mats, Space Mats, War Machine Horde Mats, Batman Mats, Fantasy Football Mats, which are really nice.
Yes.
They've got like the pits down the side and everything. If you're into Blood Bowl, just go look. Gasland Mats, which I just love, because they've got like little roads on and everything. And they've got a new project coming out, which I was really intrigued by. The stick-on neoprene bases, which I have to say, I think that's pretty cool.
Now, you said that then, but when I looked, and I'm going to sort of talk slowly while I try and confirm that I'm right. I don't think they are neoprene.
Don't you?
I think they're just... Well, it says simply peel the pre-cut inserts off the transfer sheet and apply.
Oh, okay. I thought they were neoprene. No. I'm wrong then. Sorry, guys.
Well, I only sort of queried it because I thought that would be a bit odd. But they still look cool. It doesn't make a difference. They do look very cool. I just wanted to quickly flick back to what you were saying. The football mats, the Blood Bowl mats, right? What I think is really cool, and if you play Blood Bowl, like when you play Blood Bowl, the dugout bit is flipping huge, and actually you think, Blood Bowl, just get out the board and play in a small space, and that's just a lie, and you end up taking up loads of room. So I really like the way these are a little bit more condensed. And you can change the alignment. So if you click on one to go in and have a look at it, and they do loads of them, it's like a Forgotten Temple. So you can decide to have the dugouts and stuff down the side, or you can put them behind the end zones. Sorry, look at it. Just go and have a look. It'd make more sense.
Yeah. You have the dugouts orientated, so you can either play it so you're playing from the side or playing from the end zones.
Yeah.
So everything's pointed towards you. That's what you mean.
Yeah.
So, they are very, very good. So definitely.
And they would fit on my dining room table. I've measured it.
Yeah, which is important.
Yeah.
Next up, sorry to push on, guys, but I'm going to stop saying sorry soon. But the next one is Gaddis Gaming, Gaddis Gaming. They got a few things on here which I thought were really cool. Product number 1 is a table topper to sit on the side of your table with a cup holder and a dice box. They've got some 28mm World War II miniatures, which are pretty cool. Had a little look through them. I quite like them. Some nice details on those. Not very good pictures though. Really challenging to get to grips with the pictures. And in fact, their webpage I've just found is not working for that link, which is a bit of a shame. Oh, found them? No. Anyway, and finally, the thing that I thought was really cool is their Guards Universal Rules System, which I think is a really cool idea. Called the Gaddis Universal Assembly Rules Data System, which allows you to play with any miniatures to do whatever you want. Which I think is a pretty cool idea, actually. Because we've all got a collection of miniatures and we don't know what to do with. So that allows you to sort of really crack on and mess around. Next up, Gale Force 9. Oh, did you have anything to add on Gaddis, dude, before I move on?
No, mate, I think you covered it. You covered it fairly well.
Yeah, so Gale Force 9. Gale Force 9, when I first came across them, which is a bloody long time ago, just seemed, as far as I was aware, to sell tools, which they still do. I still use my Gale Force 9 files, the diamond files. They're really tiny ones, and I use them all the time, and they're still going after literally 15 years. So their tools get my vote. They've got loads of cool games. Star Trek Ascendancy, Doctor Who, Dune, Firefly, Spartacus, Family Guy, and they do sort of add-on stuff to Dungeons and Dragons and some miniatures as well. What I particularly liked is their scenery range. Pretty cool. Loads of stuff in there.
Pre-painted.
World of Tanks. Yeah, pre-painted as well. So it's literally out of the box. Put it on.
And I've
had
a chance to see some of this in the flesh, and I would say it's perfectly fine for out of the box on the table, and also it's a really good base for if you want to add, a bit of tufts or a bit of snow or a little bit of weathering powder. Basically the rubbishy bit is done for you. Well, you have to base coat everything. Yeah. So they're an old granddaddy of wargaming is Gale Force 9. So can't go really, really wrong by having a browse of their website. Battle Foam. First thing that used to come into my head whenever anyone said storage and transport, it was Battle Foam. Which sounds like a sale pitch, doesn't it? Like one of those kind of TV infomercials. But it genuinely was. And still is to some extent. I think the thing that I love about Battle Foam is that they are on it when it comes to creating foam for new products. So if a box game comes out or a new product comes out, it's not long before there is a Battle Foam thing to carry around your Marvel Crisis Protocol core set. Yeah.
For example.
Yep.
Or your X-Wing Tantive 5 ship. There's so many options in there. You just have to have a look. Again, love the way the website's set out. It's set out into shop by game and shop by this and shop by that. So it didn't take me long to find what I was looking for. They do a number of different bags, hard cases, and Magna racks. I think it's really important that Magna racks are available by storage companies and transport companies, because I think for a lot of people that is their solution now, and it may become more so. What is cool about these guys is that because they cut foam to fit models, actually a lot of the problems that come with storing models in foam are kind of negated, as it were. So there's gaps for the spears rather than have them sort of lying over the top of the foam tray. They fit. They don't get broken. So excellent company. And there's a Battle Foam UK, Battle Foam US, so wherever you are in the world, it's there. And there's an Adepticon sale. So
I think I'm going to jump in on Battle Foam just because, again, it's one I've actually got personal experience of. So the thing that I really like that they do, and you already touched on it, but it's the foam for specific box sets. So I have the one for Space Hulk. So everything for Space Hulk built, painted, fits in the box. I've got the one for Dreadfleet, exactly the same. I've got the one for Silver Tower, exactly the same. So all of those boxes are up above me on the shelf. They sit slightly above, just from a space perspective, but I really like that, and I've been umming and ahhing, probably going to get the one for Wings of Vengeance as well that they've just done.
Can I just butt in and explain what you mean by this sit slightly above? So you can't close the box completely like you used to be able to, so they're slightly deeper than the original box.
Yeah.
So people clarify that. I like them. Well, I like yours, really do. Love them.
I think it works really well, and it's nice because it gives you like a contained game.
Yeah, it's kind of the storage solution I've been asking for from Games Workshop. I know that sounds daft, but when you release a product, when they release as many products as they do, there doesn't seem to be any thought at all put onto how a collector is going to store these things. So the number of the different dice boxes, I know the dice boxes have changed, I've whinged about that before, but the fact that the Necromunda tiles are now in 3 separate sizes is incredible, and none of them, only the first ones fit in the Necromunda box. You know, it's frustrating, but these guys produce a product so that if I, have a box set, I can have my stuff in my box set stored nice and easily. So I think it's a really good product. The next one, neither Dan nor I had come across, and we really, really like it. Arena Rex. So it's a Greek themed, or what? Actually, no, not just Greek themed. It's another one of those classical, classical fantasies. So fantasy, the classical themes, and the models are wondrous, absolutely fantastic. I think my standout for these guys might be different from for Dan's, but I think you like the horse a lot. Don't you,
I
mate?
just felt that the sculpt on that horse was just incredible.
Yeah, I think this, whoever they've got doing it has really got a sense of power and natural movement. That's my feeling about it. I'm trying to find the one particularly that I liked. Oh, here it is. So the Helleniki Starters Kit has got a bare-chested sort of guy who looks like the dude from Gods. I don't know if you ever played Gods, like the platform game. Really, really old. We're talking like 90s, early 90s. And he's got his spear braced and his shield on his back. Oh, he just looks... And his cloak's whipping under his legs.
Dude, you need to go and look at Septimus under Ludus Magnus.
Septimus, right.
I know
Septimus.
We said we would move on, but honestly, guys, you've got to go and have a look.
Oh.
And yes. Nero under the same thing.
So the gladiators
with him on the top. Nero is the bull, and
that is one fabulous miniature. Yeah. So it's a gladiator style character riding a bull, and he's pulled its head right down, so it looks like it's about to handbrake turn. It's that is fabulous, isn't it?
Yes.
So, and there's also just beasts, if you're interested in just beasts with nothing. There's cats and there's bears and there's various other things in there. What can I say? Just go and have a look at that. It almost doesn't matter what the game's like, to be honest. I collect it just for the models. Really wonderful stuff there.
Yeah, really good.
Knuckle Duster. Oh, I enjoyed these too. So another sort of fantasy, science fiction-y, Western sort of game. Or just Western, actually. So, no, I've got it wrong. It's just Western. So, there's gunslingers. There's guys with rifles. There's guys with big duster coats. There's a guy called Dr. Skurlock. Yeah, really, really
they
wicked.
do 40mm
gunfight
as well, don't they?
They do, yeah, they do. So sorry for the confusion at the start, but if you're into historic stuff from the gunslinging age of America, then I haven't seen any better than these. There's a range there as well. So there's ones that are slightly older, and there's some newer ones out as well. They've also got a model railroad, which I'm trying to keep down away from.
I ain't got time for that now. Too many models to paint.
No. So they're very good, very interesting. Yeah, a particular fan of like Dr. Skurlock. I really liked him. You ever you've watched Tombstone with me, haven't you?
Yes.
I love Tombstone. The film of one-liners. You're too drugged to fight, Doc. Well, that's okay. I got 2 guns, one for the both of you.
I remember sitting in your parents' house watching that and being like, it's also it was in the same sitting that we watched Last of the Mohicans together.
Oh, mate, Last of the Mohicans. Yeah. Oh, such a good film. Right, so Gorga Miniatures, another historical company, and they produce a really wide range of odd models. And I don't mean odd as in odd looking. I mean odd as in from odd eras, which is really cool. So there's stuff like from eras that you may not have even heard of, really. But they do some, a lot of the standard stuff as well. So they do a Norse range.
Hobgoblins. Quite
a little bit of sort of fantasy thing on this. I think the Norse range is quite a lot based on the Vikings TV series, which is not got very much to do with Vikings, if I'm being completely honest.
Quick,
they also have an excellent. They also have another excellent range of Old West stuff. Their World War II stuff is very good, actually. Yeah. So I was having a good old look at those as alternative sculpts for, to go with bolt action. So yeah, really quite cool. And it looks like it's expanding. On that, and there's a few others in there as well. But the ancients, I think, caught the illustration. You just Etruscans, can't even pronounce it. I'd never even heard of them. I had to Google who they were. So, and that's where they kind of started off. Apparently, unfortunately, they don't have any images of them online. It'd be nice to see them, what they actually look like, but it's got the word hoplite in, so it's probably going to be something I'd enjoy. To be completely honest. And finally, for this little section, Steve Jackson Games. Now, Steve Jackson Games. If you haven't played Munchkin, what have you been doing?
Yeah.
is all I'm going to say. Wonderful games company. Not to be confused with the Steve Jackson who started Games Workshop. It's a different Steve Jackson. I was corrected on that this year. I've always thought that they were the same person. Oh, pardon me. But they do a number of games, but really their kind of mainstay game is Munchkin, and it is it's huge. Munchkin. There's so many different Munchkins.
There's Munchkin for Warhammer 40,000 now, isn't there?
There is, yeah. There's unicorn Munchkins. There's Munchkin for everything. So Munchkin is a card game. sometimes it's a board game, but the board game is really just an augment of the card game, realistically speaking. And it's fun. It's really good, and it's a very reasonably priced product. So I'm going to say it. Just go out and buy Munchkin and play it, and thank me later.
I've got Munchkin Deluxe down here, which is a board game version. That might belong to Dan Wosley, actually, but I think there's a certain period of time that I've stored things for. They just become mine. So that's 9.
Statute of limitations. Yeah. Right, guys, so we'll take another quick break and get a drink, and then come back to section 3.
Okay, guys, so now we move on to what Ben's sharing on Saturday, the 21st. So we kick this section off with Modiphius. So you'll have heard us talk about Modiphius before. We're both big fans of their stuff, the quality of what they put out, as well as what games they cover. So the big one for Ben is Fallout. I think that's right, isn't it, dude?
Yeah, Fallout and Skyrim, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes, the Skyrim stuff. Oh, my goodness. The Skyrim stuff that's coming out looks amazing. I think Chris Goff has ordered all of it. I've got a feeling.
Yes, that doesn't surprise me.
Very, very excited about that. Oh, goodness me. The list of stuff they do, guys, is really huge. Lots of role-playing stuff. So Star Trek, Vampire the Masquerade, Conan, are all examples of that.
Cthulhu.
We've already said they do Fallout.
They now seem to be also doing an Alien role-playing book, which I did struggle to see whether or not they make that, or whether they're releasing it for another for another writer. But there is an Alien role-play now, which fills me full of much happiness. There's Dishonored, the role-playing game. But what's really interesting about these guys is that these are big IPs. They're not little. These are big IPs. I mean, just read through their sci-fi. Star Trek, Infinity, so role-playing game. Dishonored, Dune, Alien, Judge Dredd, Elite Dangerous, and then a bunch of others. Fallout, Thunderbirds, Vampire the Masquerade. These are big names, and they're big names that have been trusted, to them to do right by them. So I think that says a lot to me. Really enjoyed.
Sorry, dude.
No, you crack in. Go on.
I was just going to say, a lot of them as well have got quick start guides as a free PDF.
Yeah, they do.
Which is really, really cool.
Yeah. In fact, I'm pretty sure you can get all of the Fallout rules as free PDFs. Core rules. So, yeah. Really, really cool. Very much suggest that you go and have a look at Modiphius, because there will be something in there that you love that has got a game. For me, that really caught me actually by surprise is the Star Trek miniatures. But yeah, Dan,
I was just going to say, their website makes me consider putting some serious research into necromancy to prolong my life, so I've got time to play all this. Because it's just oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm just looking at the Call to Arms. Elder Scrolls Call to Arms Stormcloak hard plastic faction starter. Oh dear, we just don't need to see that stuff. Right. Yeah, go there. It's brilliant.
So next on our list is the Fifth Trooper, which is a sort of a blogging group, I suppose, slash podcasting group that do sell a couple of their own products. It's very much Star Wars Legion based. They sell sort of fat mat style gaming mats for those kind of environments, and they do a number of different podcasts on that world too. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, into Star Wars Legion, give them a go.
So then we've got Elric's Hobbies. So lots of model bases, very cool model bases. Interestingly, some blank round model bases. Now let me have a quick look at those because, oh no, they have got a bit of texture. I thought they might have been smooth because I know sometimes that's really useful. But they've got some nice styles of bases, and they look quite clean as well. Like you see some, and they're not really round, you know.
Yeah. Or
they're a bit messy. So these seem quite clean. I like the lava ones definitely.
I was quite noticed and quite liked the fact that there is a terrain set for the Shadespire game to fit on the hexes, the broken hexes.
Oh, is there? That's cool.
Yeah. So that is cool. It's a shame they haven't done them for the others as well.
Missile silos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they look good. Little stairs.
Yeah.
Excuse me, guys.
So yes, they've got loads of different bases and a few other little neat terrain stuff to have a gander at. So I think basing is their main one, and I'm not surprised really. There's some lovely sets of that. Really, really nice. Next up,
Mini Masterworks.
Mini Masterworks. So this is essentially one product that is being pushed out, and I've got a feeling it was going to be launched at Adepticon. They've got some really cool people that seem to be helping them out, or supporting them. Dave Taylor is signed a copy of his book for them to, auction off, or for part of the Kickstarter. You've got that book, haven't you?
Very good book.
Yeah,
very good book.
Badger and Games and Gears and Creaturecaster also. Yeah. So anyway, basically what it is, and the best place to really get to grips with this is to go onto their Twitter actually. Because it's got plenty of reviews, but it is a like a portable hobby desk or hobby sort of supply kit, sort of supply hobby storage thing for your paints and your brushes and that kind of stuff. And the people who have reviewed it really, really sort of speak very highly of it, which is cool. So it's not out yet, but it's certainly if you're the sort of person who is out and about, then I'd have a think about picking one up. I can think of a few people who paint in caravans when they're out doing dog agility shows and that kind of stuff. That this would be really useful. Ross.
Yeah, that's a very, very specific shout out on that one. So, following on from them, we've got Anvil 8. So Anvil 8 produced a couple of RPGs and board games. So let's have a look. What does it say? Ethereum.
Yeah,
so this looks
it's very
kind of
it's interesting.
carbon style.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, so Ethereum is it's their world that they've created, and they do a couple of games first. But basically, it's kind of an other world that people are living in, like a digital world. So they kind of are living more and more in this world. It's a digital landscape, as it were. But the real world is horrible.
It seems a bit like The Matrix.
Ready Player One is the one that really sort of. You ever watched Ready Player One? Or read Ready Player One? Well, if you have, it seems a bit familiar to that. What I like about this is the gameplay sounds like you use the programs and stuff to achieve things within the game. So you're kind of manipulating the world. So very Altered Carbon, where your consciousness is in a landscape, and the more adept you are, the more powerful your mind is in Altered Carbon. The more control you have over those programs, those environments. Seems to be a very similar thing in here, and you've got different characters who can achieve different things in the game. There's the board game, and there's the role-playing game. And I think it sounds quite interesting. Oh, pardon me, guys, it's a bit late. It looks quite interesting, and I really love the artwork for it. It's beautiful. Really beautiful. So I always think role-playing games are off to a winning start if they've got good artwork to try and explain what they're trying to get across. The picture sort of says 1,000 words and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Anvil 8.
Anvil 8. The Wargaming Company. So these guys, a couple of standout bits for me.
Their logo. I have to bring up their logo. It's a penguin in a Napoleon suit. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. I like, they've got some cool bits for scenery. Yeah. So not only are they a stockist of the Knock line of stuff, but they've got some really cool little resin houses.
Yeah.
The Henry house looks ace.
The small scale.
Recommended for use for 6mm or 10mm. It looks really nice.
It does.
And it's like $2. Is it $2? Yeah. That's ridiculous.
They've got painting guides as well on there for 10mm, and which I don't think I've ever seen a painting guide for 10mm, but they have one, and that's free, so it's worth looking at. They also reviewed and I think distribute the teddy bear mat.
Oh yeah.
Which is really cool. I very much wanted a teddy bear mat. I'm going to have to explain that really. So teddy bear mat is teddy bear fur, and they distribute the Killing Field battle mat, which is like I think probably as good as you're going to get really. A lot of people try and make these, but I've read while looking at this site their review and a couple of other reviews of it, and it looks like long grass. Now it works really well for larger scale models. But actually, I think they've played Flames of War on this one in one of the reviews, and he thought it worked really well for that. So, in that case, it's tanks with sort of grass up to their armpits. But it does look good, and it's really realistic. So yeah, teddy bear fur mat. I bet they take up a lot of room though, Dan. I'd be willing to give it.
It's not my thing. I think I just come down on the side that says the convenience
and practicality. I know,
and the practicality of the fat mat or the neoprene mats is just my preferred go-to.
I wonder if it would work as well with plastic models as it would with metal ones as well. Definitely worth doing for something like Lord of the Rings. It would work great for like Rohan.
I think probably in patches.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We'll see. A Wargame Company looks like a one-stop shop for small-scale historics. Well worth a look. I think they've obviously got a sense of humour if they've got a penguin as their logo, and anyone with a sense of humour is likely to be worth having a look at, really.
Yeah.
Next up is Siege Studios. Siege Studios are a professional miniature painting service, and they're very, very, very good. It's very difficult to get across miniature painting studios over a podcast. The best, you're just going to have to go and have a look because the quality is fantastic. What we can talk about is the sort of services they offer. So they do a range of different levels of painting, and they do building and cleaning and conversions and that kind of stuff. You have to go and have a look at the different levels, but they've broken them down from bronze, silver, gold, and then platinum. So 4 different levels. Bronze, for their basic is really good.
Yeah.
It's really very good. And they guarantee like certain things like smooth finish. There'll be edge highlighting on your bronze one just to give you an idea of where that's at. But you have to go and have a look, really, realistically, to know what you're getting. I'm considering painting studios more and more as my ever-growing collection gets bigger and bigger, just to keep up with it.
Well, they've been kind enough to offer to come on and chat to us, and I really want to take up that offer.
Yeah.
At some point, because I've dabbled, as you know, with painting services before.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the trouble is I haven't quite committed to the idea of the cost to get it done properly.
Yeah.
And then
Been
I always end up
disappointed.
a bit disappointed.
Yeah.
And because of the time factor, you still spend quite a lot of money for something that maybe is a bit disappointing. Whereas, I've Siege, the stuff I see that they do is just fantastic. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So we are having, both Dan and I at the moment are key workers for COVID, so fitting things in is becoming challenging and will become even more challenging. But we will try and get those guys on sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Next.
So, go on, you do it.
No, you do it. Tagged events. Tagged events produce a range of products for your events. I think originally they just started off by making US Army style dog tags for events, and have gone on from there. Having a look at their pictures, this is really cool. I'd be proper chuffed if I turned up to an event and this was my participation pack. Well, just for example, this one has got a dog tag, a patch, transfer sheets, little gaming cards, tokens. There's one of those neoprene dice trays. There's a dice bag. Yeah, loads of stuff in there. I would be very, very chuffed if I got that or any of those products as an event pack. So, if you're thinking of running an event, have a look at them and see what they offer.
Yep. So, next up is Steamforged. So, Steamforged is a really high quality company, in my opinion. They make Guild Ball. Is probably the thing that they are most well known for.
Yeah.
But they also make God Tier as well.
Yeah.
Which is another game which is set on a defined playing area, and comes with pre-coloured, so just a single colour plastic miniatures that are already built. I suppose is I don't know if they are one piece or they're already built, but they're very, very good if they are one piece. I know that. And it's a kind of, you can play it. You don't have to paint the miniatures. Much like Guild Ball, really. The stuff's great, really good quality, well worth a look at. Particularly if you are like us, trying to explore games that are maybe a little bit quicker, take up a little bit less space, less demanding on time for painting. There's a reason that the game's done really well, because it's really good fun.
Yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited about with these guys at the moment is the Animal Adventures.
Oh, right.
So they're like Dungeons and Dragons with dogs and cats. They're just... I've been really looking at them for the kids.
Dungeons and Doggies.
Yeah, Dungeons and Doggies.
Sold out, that is.
Yeah, it's really popular, mate. And I'm not surprised why. It's got a lovely kind of style to it. It's universal appeal, I think is the way to describe it, isn't it?
Yeah.
unless you're the real hard-nosed, must-be grimdark kind of person, I think this is the sort of thing that I'd get my kids into role-playing wise.
Yeah. Cool.
That rounds off section 3, doesn't it?
It does indeed. We will see you when we come back to chat about what came along on Sunday.
Hi guys, I'm back and recharged after a Fox's chocolatey biscuit. They're hell of a good. Hell of a good. We ought to do a food one of these one day, Dan. So first on our list for this section is Dwarven Forge. What can you say about Dwarven Forge?
Oh my gosh.
They've been around for such a long time, and their products... Well, 20 years it says here. That doesn't surprise me at all. They're just a fantastic, fantastic scenery company.
Yeah.
What they sell is modular resin. And by that I mean scenery sets made out of bits that are sculpted out of resins that you can reassemble in loads of different ways every time you play. And well, the boards look fantastic. They're kind of like what every role player wants to play their role playing game on. Is my feeling.
Yeah. It is worth checking out the castle, Constructor Castle, just because, really.
It's amazing.
I won't lie, it's not cheap in any way, but it is amazing.
Yeah, and that is worth saying. It is a premium product. There's cities, caverns, sewers, battlements. There's like stalagmite caves. There's the Dungeon of Doom. There's the castle. There's Hellscape, which is now under pledge. There was a one with trees that I saw them.
Yeah, that's right.
Doing. I don't know whether that's on its way or is out now. There's so much, and it's worth a look. For nothing else, like the individual bits can be used for some things. You don't need to buy the whole set, but it is like I said, what the ideal for role playing. Having boxes of this ready to go, so you can play it out. Brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
It's just immense, isn't it? It really is good.
Immense is such a good word. It's such a good word.
So let's move on to Norse Foundry then. So I'm just opening up the link for these guys to have a quick look. Adventures and Adversaries, now on Kickstarter. So clearly got a Kickstarter underway. Got some pretty cool dice as well. Good place to go to have a look at some dice. Those metal. There's some metal dice there.
Yep, so the kind of primary thing is the dice and gaming aids. They do it out of stone, gemstone, aluminium, steel. You know, there's some called the Boulder. It's a 45.
I used to have a set of metal dice. Do you remember when we used to role play?
Yeah.
They're really heavy. And Alexander used to be worried I'd dent his table, I think.
Well, the thing I really like here that is unique, I don't think I've seen anywhere else, is the RPG coins. So it's on the right at the top. If you click on that, they do different sets of coins that fit with different periods. So there's Orc and Goblin metal coins. There's pirate doubloons. There's elven coins. They are just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Some nice dice trays as well.
Yeah. Really, really cool stuff. So just to augment your game, really. Yeah.
Oh, and it's smart as well. It's exactly the sort of thing that I would be into. Like these dice trays have got a bit where you put your dice, and then you pick them up and roll them in the middle. Oh, well, yeah. Yep. Good. Very nice. Ooh. Dwarven coins.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's good, isn't it?
Oh, and they're not expensive either.
No, they're not. They're really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh. They're nice, aren't they? Oh.
They're the sort of thing that you could get for objective markers or keeping track of things in game.
I'd be tempted to have my own in-house currency. So, like, if you come to my house, you've got to buy stuff with these dwarven coins. They're eight. Oh, it's great when you find little sites like that, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
Right then, let's
Very
go and have a look at what James Tools does then.
Everything.
Oh, yes, so they do.
Every tool that I could possibly ever want or imagine is on the site.
A stainless steel funnel.
Syringes, saw blades, wood carving sets, clamps, God knows how many different kinds of cutting tools, filing and sanding, siling and fanding, filing and sanding. There's like 8, 9, 10 different sets of. There's a fiberglass scratch pen which I've never seen on sale anywhere else, but Marcus has got one of those. They're really interesting. So basically, it's a bundle of fiberglass, and you can rub it on like a pencil, and it files the surface for really difficult to get to places where you can't get to them from the sides.
All right.
If you see what I mean, yeah. So if you need to come at it from like the top, it works. It works really well. What it does do is shard off and cause splinters, so it's sensible to wear gloves while you're using it. But really, really cool product that is. And
there's a section called Picks and Probes. That worries me.
Yeah, it's not a Empress Children page, dude. Don't worry, it's for sculpting. One of the cool things in here that I really liked, and where was it? I think it's in cutting tools. Yes, the sprue cutting tweezers. I've never seen them before, but I thought they were quite cool for really delicate stuff off a sprue.
Okay, hang on, I'm just trying to load it up. Oh.
Yeah.
Strange, isn't it?
I've never seen that before, but no. I can imagine exactly how that would work for like real, fine stuff. Anyway, realistically, if you're in America, these guys probably do ship to Britain, but it's an American site. If you're in America, they've got every conceivable tool you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
There's everyone that I was thought of, like the opposite action cross action tweezers.
Oh yeah, I've got those.
Everything. I just was going through my head. Oh, how about this? How about this? I found them all on there. So brilliant, fantastic website for tools.
Very cool.
Gripping Beast. Gripping Beast are a company that make historical models, and they have been doing it for as long as I can possibly remember. And they have some corking models. It's based on the Yelling design of art called the Gripping Beast is one of the sort of design styles of Norse. So as such, realistically, most of their product is saga based. So sort of early medieval, and there's loads of that. But they also do bunch of the other saga stuff. So Age of Crusades.
There's a fantasy one, isn't there?
Yeah, the Age of Magic. They're doing that too. But they've got a few sci-fi things, a few war machines, other things like that. But realistically, it's when you click on the Dark Age section that it comes alive. So there's everything in there. I just so many products. If you're into historical, you've got to go and have a look. Yeah.
It's quite a good way as well if you've not really explored historical wargaming, particularly, and you want to give it a go. You don't need loads of models, because it's all like a warband system, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Sorry, just getting a drink. It is. Saga is... You could probably get a warband out of a 22 quid box without any trouble at all. And that would do you.
Yeah.
And you could augment that with a couple of metal sets just for some cooler models in there. What's interesting is the Gripping Beast plastics are the same as the Warlord plastics. So the Warlord effectively just rebox this product and sell it. Or I think they might have actually bought the rights to sell it themselves. But if you bought the Saxon Thanes from Gripping Beast and the Saxon Thanes from Warlord, exactly the same.
They do some cool, like, women and children as well. So, like, if you're looking for civilians.
Yeah. I think civilians is something that a lot of companies miss out, and they can add quite a lot to a game, actually. Mm-hmm. Trying to protect them, for example, it makes it can make a big difference to gameplay. Yeah, it's a great company. Loads of models on there. I think the one that stood out for me was the Huskarls from the Dark Ages, from the Anglo-Danish.
Yeah.
So really like those. But then that's the character I portray in reenactment. So it's always likely to catch my eye.
I'm actually somewhat convinced that what you give across as your normal everyday life is your enactment. And you are truly the Viking that you are act as.
I sit around on my ass too much nowadays to be a Viking. My job is very sedentary, just sitting at a desk, which is a shame. I wish it was a bit more active. Right, so Gripping Beast, historical wargaming, go. Next up, Weird Games. Weird Games produce Malifaux. And again, if you haven't heard about Malifaux, where have you been? They are probably, for a period of time, they were producing better plastics than Games Workshop, in my opinion. Bit fiddly and flimsy, but then Games Workshop have kind of moved down that way now. Malifaux is a skirmish game, loads of character to it. What I'm really liking on here is the terrain sets called Weirdscapes that are coming out, which 28mm kind of weird, quirky village. Oh, so good. Really, really is.
Do you know, this is another website. I've been looking now for a little bit. I still haven't found a picture of a miniature.
Yes, no, it is. The only place that you can easily get to is the terrain. That's the only one I could easily find. And you have to go down then to the bottom and click on terrain under our products.
Yeah.
It is funny how hard some of these stores are to actually find pictures of models.
Well, yeah, particularly as it's a miniatures game, you know?
Yeah.
But, anyway, I've heard very good things. I've never actually played it, I'm sorry to say. But I have heard good things, and as you say, there's some fantastic miniatures. Really good. So, what have we got here, dude? Lost Battalion Games.
Yes. So Lost Battalion Games is quite interesting. They're an American-based company who pride themselves on high-quality board games. So their card stock is meant to be quite, has a good reputation. And that's always difficult when you're looking at these games because it's the one that seems to come up a lot when I've been researching them is Sergeants.
Yeah.
It's on its 75th commemorative edition, which has got to do with D-Day. And there's a few kind of miniatures in there as sort of gaming tokens, but it's a game which is basically card. And when you look at a game like that, I always sit there and think, oh, well, what if the card stock is crap? Because if the card stock is crap, it's not going to last. And this one is a board where you put it together. You kind of build the board as it comes together.
You've actually got, it's mixed up. You've got Sergeant's miniature game and Sergeant's board game.
Yeah.
2 different ways of doing it.
So what I found, when I was researching them, is everyone said the cardstock was really good. It was sort of a thing that came up a lot, and that the quality of the product was good. So it's very reassuring. Actually, the little pewter models that come with the game are really quite cute.
They come pre-painted.
Do they?
Hmm.
Well, if that's their pre-painted, that's really good, isn't it?
Hmm.
So yes, that's and they do a number of games. So it's not just that one. There's Enemy in Sight. There's Brawling Battleships, Rally Around the Flag, as well. They're all kind of historical kind of board games, card games and board games. But worth a look. Worth a look, definitely. And finally, for this little section, is Xenomorphic Press. Now they sell rare art prints that you struggle to find in other places, and yes, they do. There's some really crazy stuff in here. For example, this one is a Black Sabbath reprint of a poster, which I reckon you'd find really, really hard to get hold of. But they do loads of sections down the side. There's a whole section on Batman. That can't be bad. They're all the Joker, though. It's a shame. But yeah, there's loads in there. And it changes. I mean, it's changed since I looked at it the other day. So what they've got in stock is what they've got in stock. But there's, the art's there for people who want it up on their wall.
Cool. So that rounds out Sunday. So we'll be back shortly to talk about what we put onto Twitter on Monday, the 23rd.
Hi guys, and welcome back. On to the next section, and we're going to kick it off with TT Combat. So TT Combat are a local company to me, based just down the road in Fradden, Indian Queens, in Cornwall, and they've just come on so much since we interviewed them a little while ago. Oh God, that was a little while ago now. We've been doing this for such a long time, Dan.
No, it's a different company really from when we interviewed them, isn't it?
And when we interviewed them, it was an MDF company, and it was an MDF company that I thought was about as much the muchness with other MDF companies around there. Now I think they're a standout MDF company, and they also produce miniatures for and sell miniature games in their own right. So there's the Drop Zone series, which is space battles and small scale, sort of epic scale combat. There's Rumble Slam, which is a very popular game actually, which is daft as a brush. It's a wrestling game with a quirky range of wrestling miniatures, which is, they're definitely interesting. It's like orcs and all sorts. Carnival, and when I was there, they had a Carnival board set up, so that sort of Venetian streets sort of game, with some great models in there, like the Doctor's gang and the Black Lamp. The Doctor's gang's got like a guy with one of those beak masks. Yeah, that's really cool. Really like Carnival. So, but other than that, I mean, what they really do stand out for me is their MDF. Really, really nice stuff. Really reasonably priced. There's stuff I haven't seen since I last came on here. So there's loads. Food stalls, shopping centres. There's a massive, massive building, which I think is when they really kicked off for done for Batman.
Yeah.
What would that be in? City Streets. It's absolutely vast. I don't even know if they still do it. Atlas Building, I think it was called. I can't find it now, but I mean, it's whopping. It's like a table in its own right. You could play a whole game of guys fighting up the building itself. There it is, Galaxy Building. 250 quid's worth of MDF. That gives you an idea of how big it is. Especially for a company that's reasonably priced. It's got like glass atrium windowed front. It's amazing. It really is. It's an astonishing thing. So, yeah, worth a look. TT Combat, fantastic company for MDF and quirky little games.
I've done something very foolish and started flicking through the Drop Zone Commander and Drop Fleet Commander sections.
Oh yeah, you liked that when you've played it before.
Yeah. I had a huge UCM army and I sold it onto it. Oh well.
You have a habit of doing that, though.
I know, and I've spoken about it on the podcast before. I think there's something really good to be said for having a bit of a clear out, but you have to be so careful that you don't end up really angry at yourself. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about right now. We are here now to talk about Winged Hussar Publishing. So let's go and have a look and see what Winged Hussar Publishing are all about.
Effectively, they publish books and some rules, but generally historical books focused around medieval Eastern Europe. So if you are into historical gaming and you want to have some more information about that era, then this is the place to come, realistically. Because it can be quite hard to get some of this sort of quirky historical stuff. Background books. So anyway, there it is. It's very, very specific. But you know, for that you know, if you're into that kind of thing, it's a wonderful little resource, actually. Next on our list is Unipolar Games, which is interesting little site I found.
So this seems to be a lot of flat 2D terrain, is it?
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
There's a little dice trap thing, which made me think of you and your dice box issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is for your sort of
War machine. Yeah. 2-dimensional terrain. So rather than actually having a 3-dimensional forest, you would put on a neoprene sort of forest marker, as it were, and then when your models were in there or trying to shoot across it, you know, you would obey it as if it were trees. I've never seen them sold anywhere else, but then that's because I don't play War Machine, I think, more than anything, so I wouldn't know where to look. But if you're looking for that kind of stuff, then that's the place to go. They also do a number of other little things like t-shirts and they seem to sell a lot of Twisted stuff. But I don't know if they sell the game Twisted, but I couldn't find that. Anyway, so yeah, great if you're into War Machine. That's a place to go to look for some scenery.
So Secret Weapon miniatures now. So I know Secret Weapon mainly because of their paints.
Yeah.
But they do bases, and they do skulls, and they do walls and plants, and all sorts of gubbins. These are definitely a good one to have a look around if you like, you know, adding that bit extra to your miniatures. A sack of corpses. Nice. Yep. Sack of skulls. 2.5 grams of loose cast resin skulls.
Should we move on before you buy 5 of those?
But each bag contains an average of 50 skulls. Oh, goodness. For $10. Now, obviously, I know Games Workshop do the bag of skulls, but I hate doing the mould lines on those skulls, honestly. And, like, the thing is, I don't use 1 or 2 skulls. I've got a base here for a bloodthirster that's got about, I think it's 67. And the other bloodthirster I did had 133. So it's a lot of mould lines, isn't it? That?
Yeah, yes, it is a lot of mould lines, yeah.
Yeah, those are cool. So they do skulls. Got a bit focused there. Human skeletons. Buffalo skeleton.
I liked these guys for their... I've always used their weathering products. They were the first ones I went to, so weathering powders and pigments and that kind of stuff. They were the ones I went to first. They do like the basing packs that has everything you need in the pack to do a base, which I quite like. Like Dan said, they do loads of little things like shell casings and all sorts of whatnots. What I'm really interested in is their Kickstarter, Dan. So the HD bases by Secret Weapon is kickstarting this month. It's already made it. It's not a sticker, it's a 3D printed base. And it's a 3D printed base that is then painted. And if the example photos that they have are even remotely close to the end product, these are going to be a game changer for a lot of people.
How do I find that then?
I will throw you the link now. It's at the top of the page. So the only thing I can think of is that I hope that you can choose what base that they're printed onto, because it starts with a plastic blank base. And it would be nice if you could have it onto like Games Workshop bases or Infinity bases or whatever. But the examples they've got here are like an Infinity style base with like circuitry and electrical stuff. There's a Blackstone Fortress style base. There's like a mosaic kind of base, which is just beautiful.
The Blackstone Fortress one is fantastic.
Cobblestones. Like I said, if it's anything like the picture, it's going to be amazing. I'll probably buy the Blackstone ones.
Yeah,
just
they're
for
very
ease.
good. They're very
fractal
good.
black theme. Yeah, really are. So basically, my kind of summary of Secret Weapon is if you're looking for that secret weapon to make your miniature look a little bit better.
Oh, comedy genius.
No, but seriously, if you're having a look for sort of cool, unique stuff to put in your hobby box to add that little bit extra to your models, it's definitely a place to have a look through, because you will find things in there that give you ideas, let alone finding things to, bring your ideas to life. You're likely to find something in here and be like, that would be really cool. So worth having on your bookmarks. Sea Dog Miniatures?
Game Studios now. So, boats. And more boats, and more boats, by the looks of it. Lots of boats.
So they do
and
a small scale
for how to use the boats.
They do a small scale kind of various era sea combat game with loads of different boats, like Dan said. Are they boats or are they ships? I can never work that out.
They are floaty things with sails.
Floaty things with sails.
Yeah, they've got 6mm, they've got 15 and 20mm, and they've got 28mm. And they've got shipwrecks for all of those scales as well. That's cool. I like that.
And there's a range of eras as well, so I wasn't being flippant. So, for example, next to each other on the page is a rigid inflatable boat in 28mm scale for like Spec Ops missions, that kind of stuff. Right next to a 10-gun brigantine, so there's a large variety on there. So if you're into sea stuff, into your boats, Sea Dogs Game Studios might be the place to look.
Wow, this is interesting. Impact miniatures. Wow. Well, if you want something to do for a few hours, go and have a look around this site. There's loads of stuff on here. Chibi Pony Adventures. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I know.
What have I come across here? Well,
They're like
oh my goodness! There's a steampunk pony. It's a pony with miniguns.
yeah.
These
It's like
would
My
be
Little
for
Pony
My Little
gone
Pony
crazy.
role-playing thing, I presume.
Although I've got to be honest, I've never seen a My Little Pony with miniguns.
Have you not?
No. And I've watched pretty much every My Little Pony episode.
Do you think they're missing
And for the
out?
record, I'm going to go on for the record, it's ace. I love My Little Pony.
Oh my god. I am keeping that recording. That little clip.
Keep it. I'm not embarrassed by it. I've enjoyed watching every episode with my daughter.
So, they've also got, they've got loads and loads and loads and loads of fantasy football stuff. That must be
Yeah,
what
that's
they
the place
do,
where
isn't it?
the biggest section is their fantasy football. So there's Scotlings and Ratmen, and the Scotlings are hilarious. They're like, well, the Scottish halflings, effectively. There's gnomes, elves. The gnomes are quite cool because the gnomes are like driving little mechas. Yeah, have a look. Yeah, that's good. Like they're so tiny they need their own little mechas. What's Sarkos? Oh, they're like little alligators. They're really cool. Baby crocodile. And there's a little Chibi's range as well. Oh, Valkyries and Vikings. No, they don't look much like Vikings. But okay, yeah. It's quite fun. Beauties and Babes. Yeah, that was everything I was expecting to come up when I clicked on that. Yeah, loads of cool stuff in there. So, do I want to click on the one that says Willy? Other companies' miniatures? Willy. What is that? Oh no. That was much better than I was daring. Right.
You were just thinking the worst. So Mythica Gaming then is our last one from Monday. So this is an RPG free download?
Yeah, yes it is.
Let's have a look.
So Mythica Gaming produce a Draxia. The Legends of Draxia, which is a fantasy card game. They also produced the Fates of Madness cooperative RPG adventure card game, and Draxia, which is a free-to-download role-playing game, which is... I've had a flick through. There's loads of good content for it. It's really cool. Any company that's giving away a set of rules like that for free, it's worth going to just download the rules and then support them, because that's a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a time to write a set of rules and then game test it, and yeah. So I think it's worth you just going to the website.
They sell trumps and ladders. What?
Yes, they do.
There we go. Oh, it's a card game as well. It's Legends of Draxia.
Yeah, so the Legends of Draxia role-playing game is kind of a the role-playing version of their other thing. Shall we move straight on to the next section while we're on a roll, Dan?
Yeah, sure.
Let me just, while we're talking. So you want to go to Black Site Studios next?
I will go to Black Site Studios next. Give you one moment, though. You've jumped.
I've jumped one, yeah.
Right. Black Site Studios. If I can work my iPad. So, what do we have here? Oh my goodness. Designed for Relic Blade. That is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, so Black Site is really interesting. So it's pre-painted. We have a very similar company in UK called Foreground, which is excellent as well. But these guys are based in America. There is some products here which are I'm really excited about. So there's one which is basically a building block.
Yeah.
That in its entirety that is big enough to just be a whole gaming board. It's absolutely massive. And it looks fantastic. Really genuinely looks fantastic. And I think that's quite difficult to do with pre-painted MDF, or MDF in general. I always find that MDF is best used as a sort of foundation to put to work on top of, as it were. I really love the Fallout stuff as well, Dan.
Yeah.
You've got loads of Fallout scatter in there. I don't know if it's the 3D files for people to print or it's actually printed off for you. I hope it's printed off for you. I haven't really had a full look at that.
Yeah, look. Drinkomatic.
Yeah.
That's just brilliant.
Yeah, some really quality products in there. So, you in fairness though, the price tag matches it, but I think it's worth it. So that Relic Braid set, for example. Well,
there's enough stuff there to make a very compact 2x2 and a sort of more standardised 3x3.
Yeah.
And it's about £75 worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And considering
it's straight out of the box.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I completely agree. That building, I think, is 250. That big Warzone building.
Yeah.
Warzone Europe. Yeah, $224. So about 180 quid. I think that's worth that. There's a Stalingrad bundle, which is just insane. £207, and it's all in industrial and ruined houses.
Have you seen the shipping containers?
Not specifically, no.
If you go into furniture and details and have a look at the shipping containers.
Furniture and details. Which section?
So you click on the wargaming terrain at the top and it opens up a load of stuff, and then other at the end.
Yeah.
And then partway down 3D printed furniture and details.
Oh yeah.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. This is where a lot of the Fallout stuff is. But most of the top stuff is.
In fact,
that.
sorry, it's called it's furniture and details. Is what it says on the page, but it's actually under the scatter terrain.
Scatter terrain.
Yeah.
Oh, they're very good, aren't they?
Yeah.
Little shopping trolleys. Brilliant.
That's good there, isn't it? Very good.
Yeah. I'm all for scenery that is straight out of the box. Bit of airbrush dust or whatever onto that lot. I reckon it could do really good. Look really awesome. Yeah, very impressed with them. Tectonic Craft Studios.
Ooh, there's a very cool movement trays for miniatures on round bases thing. That'd be good if you fancy a bit of ranked up game with your Age of Sigmar miniatures.
Yeah, they've got a tournament rack that is one of the things that really caught my eye.
Yeah.
So the sort of thing that you would have to move your models around when you're in a tournament.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is my view when you are at most risk of doing yourself some sort of mischief that leaves you crying in Bugman's toilet. Trying to get over the fact you've just ruined 30, 40, 50 hours worth of stuff.
Yeah, good.
They've got loads of other little things like shelf, desk organisers, base inserts, modular terrain rack. This is Tectonic Craft Studios, by the way, just to recap. Movement bases. There's also like a 40k terrain table in a box, which is quite cool. Very interesting. Very easy to transfer. I mean, we're talking very simple terrain here, but that
looks like the sort of thing you'd want if you were running a particularly competitive tournament where you wanted very specific
Yeah, and everyone had one box.
Yeah.
And that works out probably $75, $80 sorry.
Yeah.
It's about $100 US. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good idea.
Yeah, good stuff.
And then you can transport it all in those boxes, so that's excellent, really. Scale 75. Scale 75 are a paint range. The thing I like about Scale 75 is that they sell the paints in kind of themed boxes, so winter, autumn, and red, true metal, non-metal metallics, and they will sell you a box to do a thing. I know that's really different. So if you're thinking, I'd really like to have a go at painting this, or I would like to do an autumn themed army, then you get their paint set, which I think is really cool. I think I like that way of doing things. Games Workshop used to do that a long time ago. You used to, be able to buy those kind of things, but they've moved away from that now and you do other things. They also do ranges of miniatures, which are quite cool. There's the War Games series. They're character models essentially, but they're quite funky. The sort of thing that you can sort of stretch your muscles out while painting really nicely, I think. Scale 75, I've never used them, Dan. Have you ever used Scale 75 paints?
Yeah, definitely. I've got some stuff from their scale colour range. I haven't used... So I've got metallics and inks. The infamous inks that I told you I didn't have, but I did have. Yeah, they're cool. I haven't used them extensively. Basically, when I did the MKA painting course, they showed us a way to do like plasma effect and like burnt exhausts using them. So I've got those colours. But no, I haven't used them extensively, but I've used those bits. Dropper bottles, exactly the same dropper sort of bottle as Vallejo. The inks are very good. Very intense, which isn't a surprise because it's from the Intensity range.
It's kind of says it on the packet, just in case you're confused or wondering what was happening.
Yeah. So yeah, good stuff.
Excellent. Next up is one that I came across a little while ago and was very pleased to revisit. Spectre Games. Spectre Games sell... I suppose the biggest range is modern stuff, so contemporary stuff. If you were looking for, I don't know, let's think of an example, a set of miniatures to represent a squad of US SEALs, well, they actually have a set of models for that. So I really love them, Dan.
Yeah.
Really love them. Really do. And I love the variety of miniatures in there. So, what have we got? So, we've got mercenaries, Chinese special forces, Black Powder, Red Earth, UK special forces, NATO special forces, US special forces, covert operations. So that's guys in like civvies. You got Task Force Nomad. I have no idea what that is. Look like spec ops with a Middle Eastern flavour to them. Loads of stuff in there. I'd pick up a couple of their units straight off the bat. For use in various different things. So there's various different versions of the SAS, for example. I just think they're great. It's a great range of models. Great range of models. And there's rule sets as well, spectre operations. I think if you're going to go for sort of modern day combat, it's definitely a worthwhile place to start off your exploration of it.
They've got a little pack of world leaders.
Have they?
Yeah, they've done it looks to me like Putin, Theresa May, Donald Trump, and I can't remember what's North Korea's current leader called.
Oh, his name's escaped me.
But anyway, yeah, it's that's quite fun. Okay, so that is Spectre. So moving on from those guys, DGS Games. That's the one, isn't it?
DGS Games, yeah. So DGS Games produce Freeblades, which is a fantasy skirmish game, 32mm. I watched a video of them doing a battle sort of report. It looked really fun, and actually a couple of people have commented that it's an excellent game since we've posted the link up. So, like I said, I haven't played it, but the miniatures again look really good. So it's difficult, isn't it, when you're listening to us, because all I ever go on about is how good the miniatures look like. But that's the driving force for me when it comes to these games. 90% of the time is how good are the miniatures? What, do they catch my eye? Do they make me want to collect the game? And these really do. I definitely give them some time and pennies. Just to a couple of them. I mean, just to paint up, because I think they're really nice. Yeah. But then I've got.
You haven't got much to paint either, have you? So.
No, I know. I was about to say, it's not like I haven't got enough to paint. But what I think is worth, when it comes to this, these models have universal appeal. So if you're a role player or you're collecting a fantasy range for various different reasons, there are loads of different models in here that are worth looking at for just to see whether they've got something that you might like. Because like I said, there is loads of different guys, loads of different models in here that have real universal appeal.
Giga Robo.
Giga Robo. That's the next one we're moving on to. Giga Robo is a game about Giga robots beating the snot out of each other. So it's exactly what it says. The models look pretty cool. They're very manga-esque, old school manga-esque. The game is kind of hex-based by the look of it. I haven't had a chance to look at how the game plays, but it looks quite funky, actually.
Yeah, it does look quite fun, actually. You can throw robots into towers and all sorts. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Different. Cool.
Yeah. Another frustrating webpage though, because actually it took me a little while to see what the models look like.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself.
But then I guess you may not be getting it for the models.
No.
But actually, for me, looking at the game, it's like I just said, it's another game where I looked at it and then found pictures of the models, and I went from that looks pretty cool to ooh. Yeah. Almost got a Voltron feel to it, the models. Anyway, that rounds up this section, guys. So we've covered all the stuff that I talked about on Monday and Tuesday of the week gone. So if you've been following Twitter, that would be a way to sort of flow through these things. And we'll move on to the next section after we've grabbed a little drink.
Okay, guys, we're back. Going to cover off Wednesday and Thursday from the week just gone. So, starting off with the Miniature Building Authority. So, quite a full website from these guys. Lots of very cool historical type scenery, from what I can see, Ben.
Yeah, and a lot of it pre-painted straight out of the packet.
Hey, that's good. Actually, I say fantasy. There is a bit of science fiction stuff as well.
Yeah, mainly historical, to be honest. So, like docking areas, little buildings, marketplaces, townhouses, 28mm scale European buildings, American buildings. But then, yeah, there's high adventure as well, sci-fi. There's some pretty odd stuff on there as well. The sort of stuff that looks like people have sculpted because they've thought it had an idea and went with it. There's a lap dancer. There's
Yes, I think your description was very apt just then.
yeah. So there's loads on there. It's well worth having a look because the scenery is painted and ready to go out of the box is good stuff.
The harbour town is very nice.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
Very good. Very good. So, who's up next, dude?
Up next is Game Envy. So Game Envy produce sort of hobby age products. The main one, from what I can see, is the hobby holder. But there's two products on here I wanted to quickly sort of cover off. The hobby holder is a painting handle, but it's slightly different. It's got a bridging arm. So basically that goes around the model. So anyone who paints will, if you kind of imagine how you do it, often hold the model in two places. So at the bottom, and then pin the hand on the top somewhere. If you're using a painting handle, then you tend to hold the painting handle. But even then, sometimes I still use my hand somewhere else on the model to bridge, to do that kind of stuff. So this arm kind of wraps around the model, so you've got a way of doing that without having to touch the model. So it's very cool. And they do a number of different sort of... you can build your own out of the components that you want for different sizes, etc. They do loads of desk solutions, including a brush station that looks like a samurai sword stand, and paint holders. But the other thing I really wanted to sort of cover is their plinths. I loved them. Really nice, well laid out website with a really cool selection of plinths. So yeah, if my internet would actually behave itself and bring it up.
What is this obsession with knocking over pots of wash? There's even their little thing's called a wash wizard.
Yeah, but not being funny, Dan. You did it just the other day.
Well, yes, that's true. I did.
With your Black Templar.
Yeah.
In fact,
I managed to knock it into my wet palette, which, oh my goodness, what a kerfuffle that caused.
Yeah, so their little plinth section is called the Perfect Plinth. They're all wooden turned plinths, and I think they're lovely. I think they're really, really lovely. So that's Game Envy. Artist Opus make exceptionally high quality brushes. I rank them alongside Winsor Newton Series 7. The set that I've got are fantastic. I only get them out to do character models though. Really, really happy with mine. They do 3 different sets at the moment. They do Series S, which is a standard range, I guess, or signature range. The typical... It's worth explaining them. So they've got a nice ergonomic handle. They've got what I think I would describe as a short fibre, quite firm brush. So it's got a decent well in there. Comes to a nice point, made out of Kolinsky sable. But they're not long, like the Rosemary ones. So they're not very flexible. But I like that kind of style of brush. It's personal choice. They also do Series M, which is a shorter hairbrush for finer detail. Not so much of a well on that though. So that really, I think that's probably for the sort of thing where you need to do a very, very fine thing, and you don't need to have a lot of paint stored in your brush. Mm-hmm. And a dry brushing range, which it's interesting, isn't it? I find this product very odd. A lot of people say they're great. I would be reluctant to pay £60 for a dry brush set though. the amount of abuse that I put through dry brushes through. So I think I would realistically have to try the dry brush set to be able to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. But otherwise, yeah, very high quality brushes. If you're looking for a high quality brush, you can't go wrong with them. Dust. Now, Dust is really interesting. Dust 1947 is a kind of reimagined historical game where it's a bit like Rocketeer, kind of past but not the past, bit odd. So they've got like battle suits and guys with jetpacks and yeah, I suppose you have to go and have a look to really get the grasp of it. It's got a very World War II feel. It's got all of the factions from World War II.
Well, it's called Dust 1947, so the idea is that the Germans found an alternative power source or something.
And it carried on from there.
It just kept escalating.
What I was most impressed with on here, actually, is the premium painted miniature range. And we worked it out that when you actually look at the miniature, if what is on the picture is the standard that you're getting, it is very, very reasonable for a... Yeah, it's very, very reasonable. Very, very reasonable indeed. So that set there is a mecha with a squad of infantry, a dog handler, and a squad of heavy infantry. And they're charging... Oh, where's the price gone? We were looking at this just the other day. I'm going to have to go back. They are charging £205 for that, painted up, which is about 100 quid to paint the model. And I reckon you'd be paying 20 quid per model to get those painted, if not a bit more.
Yeah.
So from a painting studio, so yeah, I think that's really, really competitive. Really competitive. So definitely worth a look. Lots of people have actually mentioned to me that they were really interested by this when I put it up. So if you're into kind of historical stuff that isn't historical, has a historical feel, but it's got a bit of an edge, check them out. They're pretty cool.
Very cool.
I particularly like the little mechas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well then I love battle suits. I'm a dreadnought kind of guy.
So we've
Atlas
got
Games.
Atlas Games, so lots of board games there. Any that caught your eye, mate?
Well, there's one that I've actually got, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's called... Oh, I'm going to have to just bear with me because I never remember the name of anything, and that doesn't just stop at Games Workshop. The box game that I have got is called Once Upon a Time. It's a card game, and you create stories with it. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Great fun. Great for the kids. Really, really, really like that. And there's loads of other games that they've got on there, and if they're anything like as good as that, then brilliant. The other product that I've... So basically, have you remember Story Dice?
Yeah.
Where you roll, it's not the same as that, but the idea is that as you draw cards, you create a story.
Yeah.
And as you go, it's very good. I'm not going to explain the rules it'll take me forever, but maybe we'll do a little bit of a section on that.
Yeah, well, to be honest, we're likely to come back to a lot of these guys in a bit more depth and detail in the future Wild sections on the future podcast, aren't we?
The other product that the answer to that. The other product that I really liked it's called the White Box, and it is basically a blank canvas for game design. So it's a box of tokens and dice and widgets and whatnots, and a book called the White Box Essays on thinking about how to create games. I really like that. I really, really like that.
Are you getting tired, Ben?
I am. I've been up because I went for the NHS early morning shopping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a bit bushwhacked, to be honest. But So great little site. Have a look through. If anything, pick up Once Upon a Time, because it's really good. It's really good. Next up, we have Den of Imagination Painting Studios. Really liked their webpage, mate. Very clearly lays out what their sort of levels of painting are when you're buying from them, and loads and loads of pictures of the models.
Den of Imagination do a lot of work, or have done a lot of work for mini wargaming. And their stuff is really good stuff.
As we said with the last ones that we looked at, Siege Studios and the other ones we've seen, best to go on their webpage, have a look, put these guys into your kind of Filodex or whatever, or into your bookmarks. I'd like to get some miniatures painted. Have a look, because if nothing else, it'll give you a kind of standard as to what you're looking for. What I quite like is level 2, the very lowest level. Level 1 has been suspended. I'm not sure why, but level 2 I quite liked, because you can just say, "It's in my model." They'll sort out the basing. They'll sort out the base coats, and then I can do the rest.
Yeah.
Which I really like. So, yep, another painting company for you to have a look at. Put in your bookmarks, and run from there.
Yeah, definitely. So, excuse me, sorry. I was just looking at the Den of Imagination site, and I've completely lost what I was doing before that. I was looking at Lasercraft Workshop. Yeah. So, another MDF, primarily MDF company. Really nice range. The Wicked Forest.
I'm quirky as hell, them, aren't they?
Yeah, I really like that. And Janesh Deluxe Fantasy Building as well.
Yeah.
So they're really nice, and if you prefer to do the sort of finish yourself, I think these are excellent, mate. I would say they are probably the best unpainted that I've seen. They're really good.
They are very good.
They would be a really good basis. Some of them, there's like a cottage, a little home thing, and a little bundle. If you went with like a teddy bear fur style roof, or just even tiled the roofs, 3D tiled the roofs,
yeah,
I think you'd be hard pressed by the time it's all painted up to know it was MDF. Actually,
yeah, I think the quirky forest, the Wicked Forest. They're so quirky. Yeah, if you put your little tiles on the roof, I think people would struggle. They're quite stylized though, those, really.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, they got some good stuff, and 15mm stuff as well.
Yeah,
very basic 15mm stuff, which is obviously the scale for Flames of War.
Oh, is it? That makes sense then, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
They do some Gasland stuff, which is quite small scale. Probably 10mm scale, isn't it, really? Gaslands.
So that's good.
Let me just have a look at their city centre runescape. Oh, they're quite nice, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, excellent. So there's some nice MDF stuff in there. What I do with MDF things is I tend to have a folder of bookmarks and then go through them. Because actually, I think that the best way to create a city that looks good is to go for a number of different companies so that you get a range of different looking buildings.
Yeah.
And I think that creates a more realistic looking product, outcome. Pardon me. Games Workshop is next on our list. We talk about them all the time, so
don't know who they are.
if you want to know our thoughts on Games Workshop, listen to the podcast.
Yep.
Fogu Miniatures. These did not go to Adepticon, but I'm going to throw them in there because I came across them because they were attached to somebody else's post about Adepticon. They're based down the road from me. Resin models, some really cool sci-fi and post-apocalyptic kind of Mad Maxy stuff, and some historical buildings, and they're really, really nice. I think standout little range for me is the little corrugated metal shacks and things.
Yes, I like those.
Really, really cool, and like watchtowers made out of corrugated iron. Yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff in there, and it is very reasonably priced as well. So, what I quite like is that he sells bits. I don't know if you've had a look further down, but like you can get windows and doors and shack fronts.
Yeah.
And then you can have, and lean-tos and junction boxes. Put all those together, and you can make quite a little. You can do, make a custom-made building.
I like the Viking house.
The little Gruber shack.
Is that what it's called? It looks like a triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks ace. I like that a lot.
What I'm interested in is the roof, actually, because I thought the texture was really nice.
It's fake fur.
Is that how you've done it?
Yeah.
Do you reckon that comes with it?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, it's really nice. I tell you what, though, Dan.
Oh, no. Those
Dark Age Oratory Church and the Dark Age Michael Beehive hut, you'd be hard pressed to find that somewhere else.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're very cool. Seeing as he's local, you'll probably hear a little bit more about him from us, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I've just found huge miniatures, which comes up next. Lots of grass tufts.
Yeah.
Now, I don't need any more grass tufts.
But you're going to buy some anyway.
But there's some good-looking grass tufts on here.
Yeah, I really liked them. I liked the muddy grass tufts.
Yes, that's what I was looking at, and I was like, oh, I haven't got any muddy grass tufts. I need those.
I also like the frosty grass tufts, because I often find that the frosty grass tufts, they don't look quite right.
Yeah.
Whereas they do look like there's frost on the grass.
Yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they're very good. I was tempted by a few of those.
They also sell dropper bottles, if you want dropper bottles.
Yep.
A dropper bottle transfer kit. I don't know.
Is that
I can't.
A funnel and a swear box.
Yeah. I can't tell you price-wise. I mean, I bought loads of dropper bottles off Amazon, flipping loads of them, as I often do.
Well, it's because you can't count.
Yeah.
You'll go onto Amazon and it will say like 10 kilograms of dropper bottles for £5, and you'll be like, oh right, 10 kilograms, that's not that many. And then like 16 bags of dropper bottles show up at your house. And you'd be like, well, I didn't think 5 kilograms would be that much.
Yeah, but you are directly talking about the bark incident. Now, do you know how heavy bark is?
Not very heavy.
No. Well, I had to order enough to know I'd have enough, and I've got enough now.
You got enough for like the whole of the Southwest.
Yeah.
So,
Slow Death next.
Slow Death. Slow Death is really, really interesting. So it's I think the best way to describe it is, have you ever watched Warriors?
No.
Have you Oh, dude. So it's basically street gang fighting. So there's loads of different gangs, and they sell them. I don't know if they make them, but they sell them. In the Warriors, it's a story about the gang called the Warriors, and they have to get home from this meeting of the gangs somewhere in New York, I think, or LA or somewhere, and they got to go through different gangs' territories, and all the different gangs have like very unique, very distinctive styles. So it's a bit like Gangs of New York. So one of them wears the New Yorkers. I think it's the New Yorkers, but it's American pop culture, so forgive me if I've got that wrong. Baseball kits with mime faces painted on them. for example. They're quite famous. That kind of
They've got
image is quite
Kiss.
famous. Yeah, so there's this one's got the metal, skinhead, punk, straight edge, goth, murder cult girls, roller derby girls, cyber goths. They're the sort of ranges they've got. What I quite like is there's just some quite cool. I liked Mark, who's like this punk rocker throwing a Molotov cocktail. Yeah, there's loads of cool stuff in there. It's definitely a one to sort of go and have a look round. One thing that did catch my eye was the Heartwork coffee bar, and if you click on that picture, they've actually copied it from a real place. Which I thought was quite cool. Anyway, quite a unique little company. I think that I don't think I've seen the miniature ranges like that. But if you wanted a gang to play in anything like Outlands, for example, the models are there. But obviously the Slow Death games do their own rules range as well.
Trenchworks is up next. Tanks.
I'm just going to let you... I don't know if you've seen Trenchworks before. I'm going to let you open this page and just...
I have, and I'm very... yeah. Very nice. The quality of these is absolutely excellent. Absolutely excellent. So 28 mil. Yeah. The whippet. Oh, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
So these are mostly resin, but with metal sort of guns and tracks where it's appropriate. That's good, isn't it?
Yes, it really is. Very,
tank
very
design
nice.
was mental. Absolutely mental. World War II, some really nice stuff there. T-35, what a ridiculous vehicle. Goodness me. But, I mean, look at that Sherman. Oh, these are excellent. So, clearly, looking at this is your sort of higher end quality and detail that you get off resin. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of examples of 28mm scale or 25mm scale World War II tanks, particularly, that you would pay a lot less for, but this is your sort of, yeah, these are very good. These are lovely if you're into that sort of thing.
And from what I know of tanks, very accurate.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're very good.
The Renault FT tank on there is really interesting actually, because that practically won the war by some people's estimations, because Renault built those effectively for free, for cost. Didn't charge the government anything other than the cost to make them, which made him very popular amongst the French for years to come, and possibly was the foundation for his company being so successful that it still is today. And they were mass produced. Not very good fighting against tanks, but excellent at dealing with infantry. So they were a very successful vehicle.
They've got one of those up in the Bovington Tank Museum.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people, when they think of the tank, think of the British tank, but actually it wasn't very successful at all. The British tank, that the Mark V and Mark IV, not compared to the FT-17, but FT-17, but you don't really hear much about that.
It's very strange when you see it. You wouldn't want to go in one. Yeah, it's really weird.
I think
the metal work, like the armour, is only like 10 mils thick, 18 mils thick, something like that.
Well, I think the idea was that it was just an armoured suit for a guy to drive around in.
Yeah.
It was like to make an infantryman stronger rather than be like a massive thing. So it was much more manoeuvrable, and but 10 mil is 10 mil against a rifle. You're not going to get through it.
Yeah.
And there was they were producing those so many of those. There was like dozens of them on a battlefield compared to like, they just outnumbered everything. There's like a great video I was watching the other day when I was watching a program about tanks, and there was just like a horde of them. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Which would cost you about £1,000 on this website. Just So that's this section rounded off, guys. Have we done two?
We have done two.
It's
just time to grab a quick drink before we launch into covering off the last two days, which was Friday, the 27th, and today.
We've got one more after that as well. So two more sections, guys, and then we're done. Hi guys, welcome back. The penultimate section, and going to lead out with Mantic Games. So Mantic Games are a large fantasy wargaming company, or started off as fantasy wargame company, based in the UK. They produced Kings of War, which at the time came out was like an alternative to Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and runs on those kind of large scale fantasy battle stuff. There's a huge range of models for that. They also do Hellboy miniatures game and Dead Zone, which is like a skirmish sci-fi game. The thing I'm really taken by at the moment is their terrain crates, which is like scatter terrain for role-playing and that kind of stuff. So there's weapons racks and bookcases and tables, and there's loads and loads of different sets of those now. Started off with just like the standard fantasy dungeon delve sort of scatter, and it's gone on from there really. So just bring up the page. What have we got now? We've got a battlefield one with tents and walls and crucifixes. There's abandoned mines. There's ruins. There's blacksmith forges, campsites, Dark Lord's tower. Loads and loads now. So they really have taken my eye. But they're worth a look. So head on over and have a check and see what you think. Particularly alternative ranges for some of the more kind of standard fantasy tropes in there. Games and Gears is next. You got those up, Dan?
Yeah, I've got them up. I really like some of their stuff. In particular, the sort of brushes with all the gubbins to go with it.
Yeah. Pretty interesting that their brushes kind of fold in on themselves. So they open up like a pen. That one that you're looking at right there. You can see the seam. You turn them around and the brush goes into the handle, so they're really easy to transport.
Oh.
Which is really cool, actually.
I wonder what they're like ergonomically, though.
Well, Marcus has got one, and it's fine. Yeah,
okay.
Honestly, I think that's what they are. Yeah, I think that's what they are. That's what they look like. Yeah, I really like the brush care sets in here. And they obviously they do the sort of standard hobby stuff as well, like cutters, diamond files. So basically, it's a site that has loads of different brushes and brush care sets and all, cases and carry stuff. So yeah, quite a nice looking website. Definitely something I've had a gander around. Looks like it's expanding as well, which is cool.
So next up, we've got Catalyst Game Labs.
Yeah.
Shadowrun, next generation of cyberpunk fantasy.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I love the art for this.
And BattleTech.
Yeah, BattleTech, which is where I was waiting for you to absorb it, but BattleTech. So they are the producers of BattleTech game, which is a big stompy robots with guns, battle suits. Probably most popular now from the computer games, but the computer games followed on from the earliest model games. Really fleshed out universe. I read loads of the novels when I was a teenager and really, really enjoyed them. The new starters kit looks fab with a whole ton of models in there, and they look really nice as well. So, I'm really pleased to see a company like Catalyst pick that up and run with it now. Give it a new lease of life, because I think it deserves it. I think it does deserve it. It's been around long enough. I'm quite excited by that. I keep meaning to pick them up, actually. The Battletech.
I like the way they've laid it out. If you click on the link saying new to Battletech, you roll down and it says choose your experience, and it gives you the appropriate links, etc. if you want to play it as a tabletop game, or as a board game, or as a role-playing game, or as books, or as a computer game.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's a good way to lay that out, I think.
Yeah, it is. I think quite often games with so much background, so much kind of gravitas, you need a handheld when you're getting into it.
Mm.
That's what my thoughts. Yeah, so really cool. Catalyst games. I haven't played any of the others or had any contact with any of the others, but Battletech is excellent. So it stands to reason that the others would be too.
The next
Victoria
one,
Miniatures.
Victoria Miniatures. I love Victoria Miniatures, dude.
Yeah.
They do some wonderful stuff. And the only reason that I haven't dived in on a couple of occasions, really, is because I am keen to play games at Warhammer World.
Yeah.
And
I think it's fair to say that this is the guard range that I wish Games Workshop did.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. I mean, there's all of the ranges, the units in there the regiments in there that you want.
Yep.
And to be fair, they are alternative sculpts for Games Workshop regiments. So there's the Mordian Iron Guard are described as the Tallenberg Fusiliers, the Praetorian Guard as the Victorian Guard, the Border World Rangers are the Tanith, first and only. There's Penal Legions, the Arcadian Guard are Cadia. So they're there, and they're really, really nice. You know, if I wanted to do a Valhallan army, I'd come here, for example. If I wanted to do a Mordian Iron Guard army, I'd come here. But you're right, there's always that little bit in the back of your head was like, but I won't be able to use these in a tournament.
I really like the artillery.
Yes.
I really like the artillery because I would like to do like a Chaos Guard army, and I think they would have that kind of older style looking stuff.
Skanky artillery.
Yeah.
Just big old guns on carriages.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I like about this webpage is that, this company is that, you effectively what it comes down to is you've got these guard regiments, but they sell the kit separately. So if you want to buy, 52 rucksacks, you can buy 52 rucksacks. And I just love that.
Yeah.
Because goodness knows that's what I wanted to do. I want to be able to do for Games Workshop kits. Just buy a pack of rucksacks. But yes, there we go. Really nice range. Definitely have a click on those. Definitely have a click on all of these. But if you're looking for alternative guard stuff, that would be my first place to go.
And
Warlord Games.
Warlord Games. Excuse me.
You got a temperature and runny nose?
No. Warlord Games. So we talk about Warlords fairly often, semi-regularly in Into the Wilds on the podcast. Really, whatever genre you want to explore, Warlord will sell it. They have a fantasy game now. They have a science fiction game. Rules written by Rick Priestley, who is of Games Workshop fame. And then, historical-wise, most eras they cover, and also different like theatres of war. So we talked in the most recent podcast a bit about Victory at Sea, which is their World War II naval warfare game that's coming out. They've got Cruel Seas, which is same period but focused more on the torpedo boats. And then they've also got Black Sails, which is Napoleonic era ships of the line, wooden fighting ships of awesomeness. Miniature range, really good. Websites, good quality. Just good quality stuff, really. To be honest, I'd be surprised if you haven't heard of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Really nice. Really nice. I think probably fair to say that it could be far off being one of the biggest competitors for Games Workshop in terms of the actual range of stuff that they produce. It's massive. Massive.
Yeah.
And the new Judge Dredd game. Oh
yeah.
Got to stay away from this site.
So the Witchborn then, have you had a chance to flick through it? Looks very interesting.
Yeah, I have had a chance to flip. Let's get into that time, dude. So Witchborn is just remind myself, it's a campaign-based miniatures game, which I thought was quite cool. And the unique part about it is that it uses digital tech to supplement it. So you almost you can play a campaign-based game without a dungeon master, effectively. It uses the Reaper series of bones, Reaper Bones series of miniatures.
Oh, yeah.
Which are an excellent series of miniatures for just taking out the box and playing with. They're flexible, so they're very robust. I'm quite impressed by the overall kind of look of the quality of everything, really. And what's quite cool is that I know this is going to sound odd, but I know Reaper Bones, so I'm kind of confident with what the miniatures are going to be like. They're good quality stuff, but they are flexible, so they're not kind of display pieces, but they're good. They are good stuff. Yeah, I think I'm most interested, realistically, about how the digital stuff interacts with it. I think that's quite interesting. I'd quite like to watch a video on how that runs, but I haven't had time to. So yeah, interesting looking game, that.
So Wargamer, what is that? Wargamer LLC?
Yeah, Wargamer LLC. Wargamer is the company, but LLC seems to be the American branch of it. They distribute Fire and Sword in North America, which is a 17th century historical miniatures game, which is sort of Eastern European in its flavour. They also sell.
It looks small.
It does look small, yeah. I think it is small, but I don't know what the scale is. And they also sell Hot and Dangerous.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Which is where they've put obviously attractive women in historical clothing and made models out of them. And they're very nice.
Yes, indeed.
Asmodee. Now, Asmodee's been very frustrating up until today, in that I just could not work out what they did, because the website that was linked on the Adepticon page didn't do it any favours at all to work out what it is they do as a company. They do a massive amount as a company, dude. The best place to go for is their catalogue, which I'll put the link up on the list.
Are they not in the main, though, a retail distributor?
No, so they make their own games.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Let me just throw you that link. But they also distribute other people's games. Smaller companies' games who can't really distribute their own. So I don't know how much of a part they have to play in a lot of this, but they distribute Pokemon, they distribute Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Keyforge, I don't know who. No, Unique Game make Keyforge. They distribute loads of stuff. What toys as well, and this catalogue is absolutely vast. Absolutely vast. So one of the games that I saw when I was going through here that they do. Do they make that? They may do. Catan.
Yeah, Catan.
Ticket to Ride.
Yeah, they're both excellent.
They distribute those. My kids got this game called Double for Christmas, and it is made by Asmodee, and they have not stopped playing it. They absolutely love it. In fact, she must play it every day, if not twice a day. So basically, the game is you get a card. There's a sort of deck of cards. On every card has something that matches the other card, or every card. If you had two cards, there would be something that was on both, and it's loads of different pictures of various different things, like a tree or a exclamation mark or a target. And it's a bit like Snap, but she absolutely loves it. Absolutely loves it. And yeah, so they distribute loads of different games. Well worth having a look through the catalogue if you're interested in just games generally, right from children all the way up to adults. They do make some of their own, but largely they also distribute other people's stuff who wouldn't normally be able to do it. So yeah, Asmodee. Took me a while to work out what they did, but there we are. Black Knight Entertainment is next. These guys, I've got to say, I really want to. They come across as really nice chaps. Their webpage is talking a lot about sort of supporting Adepticon to make sure it happens again next year. They come across really friendly in their blog, but unfortunately, their website is dead. It died, and as such, it's very, very light on the ground with regards to content. For example, they run classes and paint miniatures, but their gallery is pictures of wildlife, which I'm pretty sure they didn't take. So they're in the process of rebuilding their website. I've got an unbelievable amount of sympathy for people when their website dies. I've been there. It's painful. It's heartbreaking. You just basically watch hours of work evaporate into the magic fairyland of some server somewhere. It's painful, but I've had a flick through their Twitter as well, and basically they brand themselves as a kind of a group of people who are there to support and provide courses and various other things to help the wargaming community. So that kind of comes across as pretty cool to me. So yeah, Black Knight Entertainment.
Oh
no. Do you want to do this one?
Am I on the right one?
What?
I'm just
Badger?
looking at Castle Brush.
Oh yeah, no, Badger's next, dude.
Yeah.
Castle Brush is after that. Badger airbrushes. We can keep this one fairly short. If you haven't heard of one of the big daddies of airbrushing, then I don't know what you've been doing.
Well, you might not be into. I wasn't into airbrushing for a long time.
That's true. If you even ever looked at airbrushing, you would have come across Badger.
Yeah.
My recommendation is that if you're going to think of an airbrush, I can never pronounce one of these, but Badger is one of the people I would go to look for. Iwata would be the second, and the High was Steinbeck. Harder and Steinbeck. Those three, you should have looked through every single one of their products before you make your choice. What?
That's okay.
You should, because I think it's a really hard choice to make, and I think you've got to. They're for me the three companies that make the best airbrushes, and they've all got loads going for them. for example, Badger for me is a great product because for my area, because there's a local distributor of everything Badger.
Yeah.
So getting bits and spare parts for them is dead easy because they're right just down the road. But all the brushes are different, and watch reviews on all of them. Look at all of them before you make your choice, because it's a big investment. Once you go in, once you've chosen a company, you'd be hard pushed to change company, I think. Castle Brush EU.
So they are a miniatures painting service, and their stuff is superb.
Yeah.
And I have found a Salamander's army, Primaris army that they've done, and now I want them.
Did you see the drop pod I posted on them today?
They are amazing. Sorry?
Did you see the drop pod I posted that they did today?
The Salamander one?
No, it's a Ultramarine one.
No.
Oh, I'll just send it to you so you can see that.
Oh my goodness, that Abaddon of the spoiler is incredible. They obviously paint miniatures for some companies as well, don't they? Oh my goodness, Anne. What on earth? Oh my days. That is insane.
Yeah. They looks like they paint for Modiphius.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that isn't going to be cheap, is it?
No, it's not.
But
So one of the things I actually really like about them is that their services and pricing is really clearly laid out. So if you website loads up with my fantastic Cornish internet.
Crank the handle, dude.
You can do it. The mighty Wurlitzer. Do it. God, you might be able to hear my laptop just like going crazy now. I asked it to do something. Right, here we go. So if you go through to the level 4, which is Emperor, it's priced individually. But level 3, which is pretty good standard for a Space Marine, is £25 to £45 per model. And level 1, which is the really basic one, is £6 to £11 per model. So 30 quid to paint up a 5-man Primaris unit. Which is about the going rate, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Like we said with the others, go and have a look at their website, because that's the only way you're going to tell. Chip Theory Games. Now, these guys are really interesting. So they basically make board games, of which the most popular seems to be the one called Too Many Bones. Artwork for that is lovely. I sent you a picture of that today.
That's what you sent me today.
Yeah. They don't use card. They're really big on like high quality materials. So boards are made out of neoprene. Cards are made out of plastic. They use poker chips, hence the Chip Theory Games. Poker chips rather than tokens. And loads of like nice quality dice. So it's all waterproof. It's all like super durable. Yeah, really interesting company. And
good quality
the art,
looking stuff.
The Too Many Bones has caught my attention just because of the art. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There is some drawbacks to having that quality of product. Too Many Bones starters kit, which has an astronomical number of dice in it. Where did it say how many dice are in it? 136 custom dice, which is insane, really. Poker chips, custom dice, the PVC playing cards, neoprene. That game is $129. So it's not a cheap game, but you'll know that it ain't going to die. That'll be around something you'll be able to hand over to your grandkids.
Yeah. Wow.
And then a lot.
Go on, sorry.
Well, any thoughts on those, dude?
It's really nice stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really nice. I don't want to talk about the next one.
No, so Infinity the game is next, and they have just released their new starters kit, and it looks so good. I've always had a soft spot for Infinity, but they've just I think they've just leveled up with this new starters kit. The models in it are just wonderful.
Yeah, and it's more streamlined rules set as well. Smaller player. It's basically it's a kind of kill team for Infinity, isn't it?
Yeah. I love it. Love the models. I love bunny-eared mecha, and there's plenty of bunny-eared mecha in this. Really cool. So yeah, there we go. So Infinity, like we've just sort of alluded to, is a skirmish game. It's got a very kind of Japanese, cyberpunky sort of manga-esque look to it, and the models are very dynamic and very cool. With the bunny-eared kind of mecha, Appleseed is probably the closest thing I would say. If anyone watches manga, Appleseed is why I like this, as it reminds me of that. So there we go.
I get distracted and just start looking
at the pretty models.
Yeah. It's funny, when I first came across Corvus Belli, they were making historical figures.
Yeah.
Which they don't do anymore.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they're very much they've put their money into Infinity, haven't they? And those kind of things. I can't say I'm surprised. It's a very popular product.
Yes. Right. Okay. So, last opportunity, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and then head into the final section, which is stuff that we've not yet put out there on Twitter, but Ben will do very soon.
over the next couple of days. Yeah.
Okay, guys, so if you've made it all the way to this section, well done. Hopefully you've had a bit of interest. Sorry we've powered through a little bit. There's lots to cover off, but hopefully give you a good chance to have a look around. So, without further ado, we're going to kick off with Creature Caster. So Creature Caster makes some absolutely stunning miniatures. And again, I think, Ben, you probably agree, these are guys where the miniatures, it's where you kind of stop and think, that niggly thing about, but I might want to use it up in Warhammer World.
Yeah.
And obviously you can't. So,
yeah.
But that's not a barrier for everyone, thank goodness. So, really nice stuff on there.
Yeah.
Any particular favourites, Ben?
I like their alternative, like Greater Demons.
Yes.
Really, really like their alternative Greater Demons. So I think it's one of those things where if I collected a Chaos Army, then the alternative ones, I think every Greater Demon is different. So from each other. So I think it'd be quite cool to have different versions, like the Lord of Ecstasy and King of Ecstasy, all that kind of stuff. To provide you with different ones within the army, like really different ones. But then I'd be inclined to get both. The Games Workshop one and these. So I think they're fantastic. I think they're really gorgeous. There's loads of cool stuff in here.
They are incredibly detailed.
Yeah.
I feel like they're a painter's miniature.
Yes, absolutely.
Really a lot more going on them than you would get on a
on a Citadel miniature?
Emperor Dragon was one of my standout. Not surprised it's out of stock at the moment. It's just wonderful. Just wonderful.
It won't surprise you to know that mine is King of War. Now, if that's what the Forge World Bloodthirster looked like, I would have one. It's just so dynamic. There's so much going on in that pose.
I
love it.
Find that now. Where's that?
So it's in the demons section. Unsurprisingly.
Yeah. They're quite reasonably priced, actually, aren't they, really? For big old resin models. Oh, yeah.
Where's this dragon?
Oh, it's in Dragons.
Oh, under Dragons, yeah.
King? Oh, God, yeah.
That's good. Yeah. So really, really nice.
Sorry, we just went in. We just went into the world of looking.
We just did the sort of thing, didn't we? So, moving on from there is Crucible Brush. So let's open that one up and let you guys know what you can find if you pop yourself into there.
Crucible Crush, that is, yeah.
Crucible Crush.
So the main thing that they do is Flint and Feather, which is
Unleash your great warrior today, it says.
Flint and Feather is North American Indians and that kind of world. And the miniatures are very nice, actually. Really, really nice indeed. So they've got the Hurons, they've got Iroquois. You know where I get the Huron? Where I know the Hurons from mainly is Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
Well, they're the baddies, aren't they? The Hurons, not.
They got 28mm miniatures for Cthulhu setting.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and they've got World War II as well. So there's a bunch of cool historical stuff and Cthulhu. Worth having a look. If you particularly, I haven't seen North American Indians any better than these ones. So if you're in looking for those, then definitely worth a look there. Diverse is next. Diverse is a board game, an RPG selling company. I'm sorry, just dealing with the pop-ups coming up. So there's various different board games and RPGs set in the Diverse, I think, is the universe that they're setting, if that makes any sense. So Nexus is the board game. This is a very flashy, lovely website, but that means that my computer is dying trying to load it. Yeah, there we go. Big models. Very nice models. Oh, Becca Scott doing a demo video. Very nice indeed. So, the board game looks very cool. If you want to know how it works, then I would suggest watching the Becca Scott video because she's very good at explaining how these things work. And then there's an RPG to go along with it in the universe. I'm really liking this kind of link between things. So, you know, having an RPG and a board game that go together, I really like that. There's a lot of companies doing that, and I think that's very cool. The art looks cool, the models look cool, the board game looks really interesting. So, yeah, have a look and watch the Becca Scott video. Flames of War. You probably know more about Flames of War than me.
Yeah, so I've had a Flames of War army.
Did you sell it?
Yeah. So, Flames of War is made by Battlefront. It's 15mm World War II. It's, I suppose, the 40k of miniature wargaming, of historical wargaming in a way, in the way it's set up. Very much you can go to one place and get it all through Battlefront. Good game, really good game. Quite popular. Lots of 15mm stuff out there now. And actually,
they've started doing a lot of plastic tanks, and there's lots of alternatives as well. So from a price perspective, it often keeps the price down, because the reality is, a Sherman is a Sherman is a Sherman.
Yeah.
So lots of people make 15mm Shermans now. And that naturally means that the cost comes down. Whereas if you want to buy a Land Raider, there's only one person that makes a proper Land Raider. So, that's quite helpful. But yeah, I think it's cool. There's just not enough time to play everything. But I do like the smaller scales. So if you are interested in World War II gaming, Flames War is definitely worth checking out. Fantasy Flight Games. Ben said it a couple of times. It's my turn now. If you don't know who Fantasy Flight Games are, where have you been? So, Fantasy Flight make loads and loads of stuff. Sadly, they finished working with Games Workshop. They did some wonderful games while they were with Games Workshop, and they are characterised by the quality of what they produce. So, cardstock, for example, is always excellent. They make all the Star Wars stuff. So X-Wing, Star Wars Armada, Legion. They make Legion?
Yeah, they do make Legion. And Legion
they make Legion.
Legion is actually getting better month on month, really. Every release that's coming out, the quality of the models is better. It's really big where I am at the moment, Legion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy to get into those kind of games because you know the world. You recognise it, you understand it, you know what a stormtrooper is, for example. So, yeah, very cool. It doesn't just stop with Star Wars though. There's loads in there. We could do a whole podcast episode on what Fantasy Flight sell. So, just go and have a look. But like I said about Modiphius, they've got some big names working with them. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, Arkham, Game of Thrones. Lord of the Rings, the Tolkien, House of Tolkien don't let anybody at their product. You have to meet a certain standard. So definitely worth checking them out. GMM Studio. Let's bring them up. Haven't looked at these guys yet. So what? Grey Matter Musings. What have we got here? Home of artist Brandon Palmer and his massive, great big, huge, small world. Wow.
Absolutely stunning work.
Yeah, that's terrifyingly nice, isn't it? How can one person paint so many models? Please tell me that's Titanic scale. Wow. Yeah, so this guy's I think this is just a blog page about Brandon Palmer. Best way to approach this is just go and have a look, really. Loads of blogging there. Very, very nice. That's impressive, isn't it? Oh, he's the one who did that Last Voyage of the Krusty Anchovy. Yeah, I saw that. I've seen that. Yeah, very cool. That's definitely a coffee table browsing one. That is just glorious.
Yeah. Wow.
Ready to move on, dude?
Yeah, just really impressed by the quality of the stuff on there.
I'm impressed by the volume. Next up is Bushido.
Yeah, from GCT Studios. So Bushido is sort of a feudal Japan kind of fantasy-esque game. Small numbers of miniatures. Very cool looking miniatures.
Yeah,
I really like them. Quite a different game. You have a pool of kind of combat dice, I suppose, and you have to choose what you're going to allocate to attack and what you're going to allocate to defense, which is quite a different way of doing it. I did play it a couple of times, but yeah, the
again, it's the same thing again, really.
Just so many games.
There's only so much time. What is cool is the Temple of Rokham, which is the ones that I was doing. I think they've got a guy that rides a tortoise, which I just think is amazing.
Oh yeah,
where is he?
Master Akusa.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
So I just think that's excellent.
Oh yeah, I like the models. Looking at this, the Adepticon special models would have been worth flying over to America for. They're really, really nice. I wonder if they're going to be available like in another way. Pre-releasing some of it. Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool.
Lovely models, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Metal Neko Games. What's this then, dude?
I have no idea. I haven't opened them yet, so let's have a look.
Starfall Universe. Ooh, it's a start. Oh, open.
I always find this quite interesting, is it, when you go to a web page and you want to know what somebody does, that it shouldn't really take you. I kind of want to be able to do that quite quickly, but I haven't been able to with a lot of these. So Starfall Games, what is that?
It looks like it's going to be a Kickstarter or something new.
Oh yeah, so basically there's a lot of concept art on here, but not many pictures of miniatures. The concept art is nice. I think this is going to be one to watch, dude, rather than one to be able to work out what it is just about yet. So Starfall Games is the universe that they're creating. Age of Mercenaries.
Right, well, we'll come back to that at some point in the future. It's developed a bit. So Privateer Press. So Privateer Press is quite a well-established American company. They make War Machine and Hordes, and some games that revolve around those worlds. Those worlds are pretty cool, I won't lie. Got a blend of sort of magic and technology, sciencey stuff to make warjacks, and there's also massive beasts. Quite a tight rules system, so definitely quite a competitive rule system, and they laid that out very early on as being their approach. Generally, quite the aesthetic is quite
unique, isn't it? Yeah,
it's very unique. It's very exaggerated.
Yeah,
I suppose is the way I would put it. But definitely worth checking out. Good game, and well supported from the company as well. Worth looking at them.
Yeah. So Panda Cult Games is next, and they produce Wonder Cult of Barnacle Bay and Shovel Knight Dungeon Duels. These are board games by the look of things. I've got to say, I love the kind of style of it. Looks really cool.
There's a knight with a shovel. I mean, that's just brilliant.
The quote here, I think, sums up my initial impressions. Not only are the characters too cute for words, but the narrative of the game is brilliant and keeps you engaged. So that's quite a nice little comment, isn't it? That's from Dawn Lomax, who I've heard of. That's because she's from Beast of War. So yeah, they look really cool.
Yeah, they do actually. They do. The models look quite fun.
The problem is with this lot is that you could end up Shovel Knight. I could end up with like 52 board games for Christmas.
Yeah. Right, Relic Blade then. So we spoke a little bit about Relic Blade earlier because it was sort of found some scenery that was made for it.
Yeah, so Relic Blade is a skirmish level game.
Adventure battle game.
Yeah, and it is very, very popular. Actually, in fact, I know a couple of people who say it's their favourite game by a country mile. it's sort of almost quasi role playing game actually, which people I think really like about it. And there's loads of scenery and models that come with it.
There's some good models.
There is some good models.
Flame Bearer, he's very nice.
Oh,
Riding a goat. Everyone needs a guy riding a goat.
This is what the company says, or Metal King Studios says about it. Spreader Game is a fantasy tabletop miniature skirmish game. That description is quite a mouthful, and I wouldn't blame you if you still weren't entirely sure what it was. Players customize and paint their model kits, build immersive scenery, and play out epic adventures with their friends and rivals. I'm a visual person, and I do my best to use fancy words to explain Relic Blade, but I think a pile of photos will be more fun. So yes, I think that really does sum it up, and these photos are wonderful. So definitely worth a look, because you'll probably recognise a lot of these photographs. And like I said, I know a number of people who say that this is their best or their favourite fantasy skirmish / roleplay game. Reaper Minis. Now, if I am looking for a model for my role-playing character, the first place I go to is Reaper Miniatures.
Yeah.
That is absolutely 100% true. Their range of miniatures is vast, and they are designed with that in mind. So they have a Pathfinder range, which is effectively Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition. They have some fantasy models as well. They have baddies, loads of them, and they produce them in metal, plastic, and a range called Reaper Bones that we've already discussed today. Reaper Bones is like a flexible PVC style plastic. Don't get as much detail as their metal equivalent, and they do sell them the same model in metal or but in all PVC. But they're great for just shoving in a bag and bringing out, especially for the bad guys. So if you're into role playing and you haven't looked at Reaper miniatures, because things like the bones are very, very cheap. These are a really, really good way of dealing with it. Great company for role-playing models.
Definitely. So Stiffneck Studio is another painting studio. With all of these, it's really worth
just go and have a look.
Yeah, just go and having a look around the galleries, and getting in contact if it's something you're interested in.
Well, they've got a lovely little gallery. I'm very impressed with it. So I particularly like their Legion of the Damned unit. Very cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yes, indeed. I like
that. I think the Art of Miniatures Wargaming, which is next, is also another studio. It's a shame to put them side by side, but I didn't make the order up. So it's a miniature painting service. Quite a lot of a different style. This one. So to the others. Yeah. But well, again, the miniatures look fantastic on here. I would be very happy if I sent a model off and it came back looking like these. And the service pricing looks about competitive with everyone else. It is about, like we said a number of times, bookmarking it and then having a look through and working out which one you prefer the style of, because the quality is all pretty much the same. The style is slightly different.
Yeah.
And finally, to round off what has been an epic adventure of going through the Adepticon exhibitors, Army Painter. Army Painter produce a massive range of painting products. They are probably most famous for their dipping technique, where you base coat the model, apply a dip, literally a dip. It comes in like a varnish tin. You plunk the bugger in and pull it out, let it dry, and then varnish it to get rid of the shine. They call it quick shade. Got to say, it works very well if you want an army done quickly. You know.
Yeah.
it's pretty good, and there's plenty of pictures on there of it in action. So
yeah, I mean, I'm generally a big fan of Army Painter's spray cans because they do a big range of them. They do seem to be slightly thicker than others, and you do have to take care. But they are absolutely fine. I found the war paints to be a little bit thin. Struggled to use those, if I'm honest. But the shades, like the quick shade and the like, are very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
They do quick shades. They do 3 different colours: so soft, dark, and strong. Which one the difference? What's the difference between strong and dark? I'm not sure, but I think dark is the most intense.
They're actually pretty good as well for guides, painting guides.
Yeah.
Because if you go on their site and have a look, you can select like different categories. So sci-fi, and then you can go by armies and regiments or single miniatures. So they've got Dark Angels on there. Who else have we got on here? Yellow sci-fi marine, bone sci-fi marine, wolf grey sci-fi marine. You know,
where are they? Video tutorials at the top.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see that there was a video tutorial, if I'm honest. But now from the home page. Oh, painting guides. It says. At the top. And tufts. They do lots of tufts. I've got lots of tufts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I found painting guides. Yeah, very cool. Oh yeah, then that's nice, isn't it? Cool.
Yeah.
Lovely. And there is some that we haven't done, unfortunately. There is a number of companies bringing apparel and various other things we're bringing them to Adepticon, that the clothing and that kind of thing that we haven't gone through. And there's also news channels that do a very good job, like Spiky Bits and Bell of Lost Souls. They do a good enough job of promoting themselves, to be honest, without our help. But yeah, I think that rounds up everything, doesn't it, Dan?
I think it does, buddy. I think it does.
So I hope you've enjoyed that. I know we've been going pretty quickly, but I mean, we have no idea how long this has lasted. I think when we put it together, it's probably going to be well over 2 or 3 hours, as it is, and we've been going as fast as we could without, shortchanging any of these people. Realistically, one of the things I would say is that is a quality set of companies, and I urge everybody who's listening to go through and give them some time, and think about spending some money with them and supporting them, or even just doing something simple like following them on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. So in case they produce a product that does catch your fancy, you'll hear about it. But otherwise, it has been good fun. We'll probably do the same for Salute, I think, Dan. Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Hopefully, as we do these, we'll get a bit more streamlined, a bit better at it.
Yeah.
But
I think it's worth noting as well that you might have to wait a bit for to support these guys. So please don't forget them, because many of them are closing their stores
until COVID is passed,
not distributing until the current world crazy situation is dealt with.
Yeah. Oh, well, if you fancy following along for the next bit, which will be the Salute exhibitors, which will be mainly more UK-based companies, I should imagine, then please follow along. The hashtag is Virtual Warcon. And depending on how well this all goes, I have thought about doing this next year as well, Dan.
Yeah, well,
we'll see.
And let us know as well. Feedback is good.
as to what you felt was good and what you felt could be done better, differently. Always good.
Well, brilliant. Well, thanks, guys. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Two Piece Podcast, and we'll catch you for the next episode, normal episode, which will be I don't know when that'll be. Is that next week?
Couple of weeks time.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Cheers, guys.